Chapter 1102. Huff, huff, I finally succeeded. Feeling the changes in Jiao Yuyin's body and soul, Yi Chenfeng let out a long sigh of relief. He removed the 108 silver needles from her acupuncture points and pulled up the blanket beside him to cover her alluring body that could make one's blood boil. He stood by her side to protect her. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test heavenly soul body, Jiao Yuyin. Looking at the unconscious Jiao Yuyin, Yi Chenfeng sunk into deep thought. Although the God-Eater brain had a kind of soul fusion technique, if he cultivated it with Jiao Yuyin, with the help of the powerful heavenly soul body, his soul would definitely improve by leaps and bounds in a short period of time. However, soul fusion was no different from dual cultivation. One was the fusion of physical body, the other was the fusion of soul. Furthermore, he did not have any emotional foundation with Jiao Yuyin. Once his soul fused with Jiao Yuyin's, there would definitely be emotional entanglements between them. Ever since Yu Nikang left, Yi Chenfeng had sealed his heart and wholeheartedly pursued the Supreme Tao. He really did not want Jiao Yuyin to affect his martial heart. However, the Heavenly Saint breaking pellet was more important to him. If he could not gather the main ingredients to concoct the Heavenly Saint breaking pellet and successfully concoct it, breaking through the world shackles and breaking through to the realm of Tao Saint, Yi Chenfeng felt that he would definitely die if he challenged the Heaven Domain's gate. Sigh. Let's take it one step at a time. After pondering for a while, Yi Chenfeng sighed lightly and stopped thinking about it, letting the matter develop on its own. After an unknown amount of time, Jiao Yuyin's long eyelashes trembled slightly. She had finally woken up from her coma. After awakening the heavenly soul body, Jiao Yuyin's strength and realm had both increased by 1 realm. Her strength had reached level 4 Beast Emperor, and her soul had reached level 6 Beast Emperor. Furthermore, she had just awakened the heavenly soul body. Once she unearthed the potential of the heavenly soul body, her strength and soul realm would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. She would definitely be able to stand at the peak of the Duhan continent. Yin, how do you feel? Yi Chenfeng asked softly as he looked at Jiao Yuyin's slightly pale face that revealed a delicate beauty. Thank you, Feng Chun. Thank you for helping me awaken the heavenly soul body. I feel really good now. Just now, when I was unconscious, an inherited soul incantation. Jiao Yuyin said gently as she slowly sat up and looked at Yi Chenfeng tenderly. Yi Chenfeng's eyes lit up. Feng Chun, if you want to learn, I can teach you. Although the inherited soul mantra involved Jiao Yuyin's great secret, in order to thank Yi Chenfeng for his kindness, she decided to teach it to Yi Chenfeng. Really, it's all thanks to you that I was able to awaken the heavenly soul physique. Furthermore, I know that you also used up a large amount of precious items for me. Jiao Yuyin gently bit her lips and said, but before I teach you the inherited soul tactics, you must promise me 3 things. What happened? Yi Chenfeng looked at Jiao Yuyin's beautiful face and asked softly. First, you're not allowed to teach the soul mantra to a 3rd person. This is a secret between the 2 of us. Jiao Yuyin said softly. All right, I promise you. Yi Chenfeng nodded and said without hesitation. I haven't thought about the 2nd and 3rd yet, but I won't make you do something that goes against your conscience, Jiao Yuyin said after taking a deep breath. All right, in the future, I will unconditionally do 2 more things for you. Yi Chenfeng pondered for a moment, but still nodded and agreed. I knew you would agree. Jiao Yuyin revealed a charming smile and said, the soul mantra that appeared in my mind is called the Immortal Soul Mantra. It has a total of 9 realms. When cultivated to the peak, your soul will be immortal and indestructible. After saying that, Jiao Yuyin passed on the soul body inheritance soul mantra to Yi Chenfeng without reservation. Immortal Soul Mantra. After memorizing the cultivation mantra that Jiao Yuyin taught him, Yi Chenfeng's heart was set off a huge wave. He didn't expect this Immortal Soul Mantra to be so domineering. It could actually cultivate the soul to the immortal realm. Moreover, with the Immortal Soul Mantra, they could avoid the awkwardness of their souls fusing. This made Yi Chenfeng inwardly relieved. It's getting late. Yin, you should go back and have a good rest. Tomorrow morning, I will teach you alchemy." In order to thank Jiao Yuyin for teaching him such a precious, immortal soul mantra, Yi Chenfeng decided to teach her everything. He would teach her the alchemy techniques and alchemy experience that he obtained from fusing with the soul fragments. Really, Jiao Yuyin's eyes lit up, revealing a pleasantly surprised expression. If she could learn Yi Chenfeng's miraculous alchemy techniques, she believed that she would be able to obtain good results in the Sky Hall's competition. Remember not to laze around in bed tomorrow morning. Come find me early. I might change my mind if you are late. Looking at the pleasantly surprised Jiao Yuyin, Yi Chenfeng half-jokingly said, "Don't worry, I will be there early tomorrow morning." Jiao Yuyin patted her chest and promised. Then, the two of them looked at each other and suddenly smiled. Their relationship had also become closer at this moment. After Jiao Yuyin left, Yi Chenfeng immediately got rid of all distracting thoughts and controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the first transformation of the immortal soul mantra, tempering his soul. While operating the God-Eater brain to deduce the first transformation of the immortal soul mantra, Yi Chenfeng felt a huge soul millstone appear in his soul sea. It was slowly grinding, forming a terrifying, twisting force that directly shattered his soul. Immediately, an indescribable pain spread throughout Yi Chenfeng's soul sea, making Yi Chenfeng feel as if his soul was being torn apart and his head was about to explode. The God-Eater brain was rapidly deducing. Although Yi Chenfeng was in extreme pain, in order to achieve the most direct effect of refining his soul, he gritted his teeth and relied on his extraordinary endurance to continue controlling the God-Eater brain to deduce the immortal soul mantra. He spun the soul millstone and continued to temper his soul. "Persevere, I must persevere." Yi Chenfeng gritted his teeth and tried his best to maintain the last trace of consciousness, trying his best not to faint. Slowly, an hour passed. Stop. Just as Yi Chenfeng was about to lose consciousness, he finally stopped deducing the immortal soul mantra. The slowly grinding soul millstone also disappeared, and at that moment he also fainted. Early in the morning, gentle rays of sunlight shone in, illuminating the dark room and waking up the unconscious Yi Chenfeng. "My soul has grown so much stronger." When Yi Chenfeng woke up and felt the changes in his soul, he revealed a look of pleasant surprise. Although he had practiced the immortal soul mantra yesterday and was in extreme pain, the benefits were also extremely obvious. His soul had grown by nearly 10%, and this speed of improvement had greatly exceeded his expectations. Just as he was suppressing the excitement in his heart and silently repairing his shattered soul, a light knocking sound came from the door. Wearing a long white silk dress, her long black hair draped over her shoulders like a waterfall, her slender willowy waist and towering twin peaks formed a strong contrast. Jiao Yuyin, who exuded an enchanting charm, arrived early in the morning. "Fengchun, I'm not too late, am I?" Jiao Yuyin's lips curled up slightly. Looking at Yi Chenfeng's slightly pale face, she said with a sweet smile, "Earlier than I thought. Yuyin, did you practice the immortal soul mantra last night?" Yi Chenfeng felt the changes in Jiao Yuyin's soul, and he really wanted to know if she practiced the immortal soul mantra as painfully as he did. After cultivating, Jiao Yuyin nodded and said, "When I was cultivating last night, a huge soul millstone appeared in my mind. Every time the millstone rotated, my soul grew. The feeling of being a fish in water was very comfortable." The soul mantra derived from the heavenly spirit body was indeed only suitable for the heavenly spirit body. If someone else practiced it, they would have to endure the pain of their soul being crushed. Yi Chenfeng mumbled to himself and couldn't help but envy Jiao Yuyin's body. "Yuyin, sit down. I will now teach you the alchemy I practice. But this alchemy technique was passed down to my master, so you can't teach it to a third person." Yi Chenfeng gestured for Jiao Yuyin to sit in front of him and sternly warned her, "Don't worry, this is a secret between the two of us, so I won't tell anyone." Jiao Yuyin blinked her eyes and said in a somewhat playful manner, "Close your eyes and don't resist. I will imprint the alchemy technique inheritance and my alchemy experience into your soul to deepen your memory. After saying this, Yi Chunfeng controlled his God-Eater brain to quickly deduce and imprint a large amount of alchemy technique inheritance and alchemy experience into Jiao Yuyan's soul. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1103. This alchemy technique even has a Saint Pill inheritance. Jiao Yin carefully browsed through the alchemy technique inheritance and alchemy experience that Yi Chunfeng had imprinted in the depths of her soul, and she fell into a daze. Watermark advertisement test. She felt that the alchemy experience that Yi Chunfeng had imparted to her couldn't have been accumulated without tens of thousands of years of accumulation. And the Saint Pill inheritance that Yi Chunfeng had imparted to her was even more precious, including the Saint Pill technique that was enough to make some old monsters jealous. Remember, this is a secret between us. Don't spread around, Yi Chunfeng said softly with a faint smile as he looked at Jiao Yuyan, who was so excited that she could not speak, her breasts rising and falling like waves. I know, I won't say anything. Jiao Yuyan nodded, looked at Yi Chunfeng with watery eyes, and promised. Okay, don't be so excited. Try to cultivate the alchemy technique that I have imparted to you. If you don't understand anything, ask me, and I will answer you, Yi Chunfeng said softly. Okay. Jiao Yuyan nodded, suppressed the excitement in her heart, and began to integrate the alchemy technique inheritance and alchemy experience that had been imprinted in the depths of her soul. When Jiao Yuyan was comprehending the alchemy technique, Yi Chunfeng took out the Demon Emperor furnace that he couldn't refine and gently stroked the multiplying array patterns on the surface of the Demon Emperor furnace. This Demon Emperor furnace is worthy of being a supreme-grade saint artifact. The tool patterns in the furnace are too mysterious. When Yi Chunfeng stroked the Demon Emperor furnace, the God-Eater brain quickly deduced and penetrated into the Demon Emperor furnace, comprehending the multiplying and mysterious saint tool patterns. The reason why he wanted to comprehend the saint tool patterns in the Demon Emperor furnace was that he wanted to try to refine a saint artifact. If he could refine a saint artifact that surpassed the limit of the Dahan continent, then there would be no suspense for him to win the Sky Hall's refining competition. However, the power of the saint tool patterns was beyond his imagination. When he controlled the God-Eater brain to comprehend it, he still felt extremely strained. After a while, he felt a trace of dizziness in his mind. Sigh, my soul realm is still not enough. Feeling dizzy, Yi Chunfeng sighed helplessly. He had no choice but to stop comprehending. Even comprehending it was extremely difficult, not to mention forming a sacred artifact mark. Helpless, Yi Chunfeng had no choice but to give up. Enduring the intense pain, he controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the Undying Soul incantation. Under the Undying Soul technique, the soul millstone appeared in Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul, grinding and refining his soul. Immediately, a heart-wrenching pain appeared in his sea of soul. His soul was crushed into pieces by the soul millstone. It was the most fundamental and thorough refinement of his soul. Feng Chun, what's wrong? After comprehending the alchemy technique, Jiao Yuyan opened her eyes. When she saw Yi Chunfeng bleeding from his 7 orifices, her heart trembled, and she nervously asked, Phew, I'm fine. I was just practicing the immortal soul art that you taught me. Yi Chunfeng spat out a mouthful of turbid air and stopped his deduction of the immortal soul art. He woke up from his cultivation and said with a slightly pale face, How can this be? Why wasn't it like this when I was practicing the immortal soul art? Jiao Yuyan asked in puzzlement. The immortal soul art is the heavenly soul body's soul art. Naturally, it won't devour you. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and evaporated the blood from his 7 orifices. He slowly said, But this kind of pain is still bearable. How about I use the heavenly soul body's power to help you relieve the pain? Jiao Yuyan looked at Yi Chunfeng with a gentle gaze and said softly, Soul intercourse. Yi Chenfeng asked as he looked at the pretty and charming Jiao Yuyin, who exuded a different kind of charm. No, it's not soul intercourse. Seeing that Yi Chenfeng had misunderstood her, Jiao Yuyin quickly said. Strands of crimson instantly climbed up her beautiful face, making her charming and alluring. I only need to hold your hand and fuse the heavenly soul body's power into your body. So that's how it is. Looking at Jiao Yuyin's shy appearance, Yi Chenfeng rubbed his nose and said awkwardly, Okay, let's try it. Although Yi Chenfeng had an unyielding heart and a willpower that surpassed ordinary people, cultivating the immortal soul art was too painful. Yi Chenfeng still had lingering fears. He took the initiative to hold Jiao Yuyin's soft and smooth hand and prepare to give a try. Huff! Jiao Yuyin took a deep breath and tried her best to get rid of the distracting thoughts in her mind. She controlled the heavenly soul body's power and fused it into Yi Chenfeng's body bit by bit. When fusing the heavenly soul body's power, the spiritual pearl of life in Yi Chenfeng's heaven's hall meridian suddenly sped up and fused with the heavenly soul body's power to nourish their bodies. Slowly, the two of them felt as if they were fusing with each other. The feeling of floating in the air was very comfortable. In this wonderful feeling, Yi Chenfeng immediately controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce the immortal soul art and formed the soul millstone to sharpen the soul. Although the process of sharpening the soul was still painful, under the nourishment of Jiao Yuyin's heavenly soul body, the pain in Yi Chenfeng's soul kept decreasing until it was within his tolerance range. As the heavenly soul body's power and the power of life fused more and more thoroughly, Jiao Yuyin was also completely immersed in it. It was so comfortable that she couldn't control herself. She felt as if her entire body was being cleansed. In this wonderful feeling, her body was about to melt. The potential of the heavenly soul body was also stimulated. The soul millstone involuntarily appeared in her soul, and transformed her soul. Unknowingly, the two of them tightly grasped each other's hands. Both of them opened their hearts and fused with each other without any reservations. This state lasted for an unknown period of time. Yi Chenfeng's and Jiao Yuyin's souls trembled at the same time. Both of their souls sublimated and woke up from the intoxicating feeling. Although it wasn't soul intercourse just now, it was similar to soul intercourse. In the wonderful feeling just now, the two of them opened their hearts and fused with each other without any reservations. Their bodies and souls had become one. However, the two of them didn't say anything. However, Jiao Yuyin's face became even redder. Her gaze became gentle and charming. After sublimating their souls in the wonderful feeling, Yi Chenfeng started to explain some obscure and difficult parts of the alchemy technique to Jiao Yuyin. In order to let her completely grasp the alchemy technique inheritance, Yi Chenfeng even concocted pills in front of everyone. As he concocted pills, he explained them to her. Soon, the sky turned dark. Jiao Yuyin, who had fused with a large amount of alchemy knowledge, was left with no choice but to leave. She returned to her own fragrance pavilion and familiarized herself with what she had learned today. After Jiao Yuyin left, Yi Chenfeng used the remaining heavenly soul body's power to continue cultivating the immortal soul art and strengthen his soul. Just like that, the two of them reached a tacit understanding. Every day, Jiao Yuyin would come to Yi Chenfeng's room early in the morning. The two of them would hold hands and cultivate the immortal soul art to sublimate their souls. Then, they would study the obscure and difficult alchemy technique together. Because Jiao Yuyin's research on alchemy was very deep, Yi Chenfeng also learned a lot from the exchange and deepened his attainments in alchemy. Seeing Yi Chenfeng and Jiao Yuyin sticking together every day, Wantian Marquis didn't stop them. Seeing Yi Chenfeng's potential, Wantian Marquis was very willing to let him become his son-in-law. Soon, 2 months passed. When there were still 3 months before the Heavenly Halls competition, Wantian Marquis found Yi Chenfeng and told him that he found Bujia's hiding place. Continue reading. Please give me a red packet. Mobile reading website. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this reading. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1104. In the 100-point mountain range, to the northwest of the Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom, there was a massive mountain range that stretched for tens of thousands of miles. It was like a giant dragon was crawling on the ground. In the depths of the mountain range, there were overlapping peaks and spiritual energy. Waterfalls fell from the nine heavens, cascading down the mountain range. In the depths of the 100 Brilliance mountain range, there was a mountain that was covered by clouds and mist. 3 to 5 ancient pine trees were strong, and they took root in the surroundings of the mountain, and they enveloped an ancient and simple pavilion. At this time, this ancient pavilion that had existed for countless years constantly emitted mournful and pained howls, making one's hair stand on end. A skinny man with sunken eyes and messy dark green hair was forcing a bottle of dark green liquid into the mouths of naked men and women who were tied to iron frames and covered in wounds. He was using the drug to stimulate the potential of their bodies and improve their vitality. And in a corner of the wooden pavilion, there were a dozen men and women in tattered clothes. They were shivering in fear, hiding their heads between their legs. Seeing this scene, they were scared out of their wits. They could imagine that once the skinny man sucked away the vitality of these people, it would be their turn. When the time was right, the naked men and women were stimulated by medicine to the point where their vitality was on the verge of collapse. Then, the skinny man carefully took out a piece of life soil filled with spirituality from his universe ring. Above the life soil, there was a small dark green tree that was 1/2 meter tall without any leaves. On this tree were 3 bright red, cherry-like fruits. Puff puff. Sensing the thriving life force of those men and women who were howling in pain, this dark green small tree suddenly reached out many sharp, sword-like branches, piercing into their bodies and crazily devouring their life force and blood. In the blink of an eye, the 9 people were sucked dry by the small dark green tree, dying on the spot. Not bad, not bad. These 3 fruits of life were finally about to ripen. After the small dark green tree swallowed the vitality and blood of the 9 people, the 3 fruits of life became even redder. The skinny man revealed a cruel smile. He cast his gaze towards the dozen men and women hiding in a corner with their cultivation sealed. He was planning to use the same trick again, using medicine to stimulate their vitality and use it as nourishment for the fruits of life. No, don't come over, I beg you. As long as you don't kill me, I'm willing to do anything for you. A woman whose clothes were tattered and exposed her body saw the skinny man approaching step by step. She was so scared that she cried and begged for mercy in despair. Although her clothes were tattered and her hair was messy, it still couldn't hide her beautiful appearance and tall figure. However, the skinny man completely ignored her beauty and begging for mercy. He revealed a cruel smile and stretched out his skinny hand, directly grabbing the woman's neck and lifting her up from the ground. Just as the woman fell into despair, the restrictive spell hidden in the clouds suddenly began to tremble violently. Oh no, someone's coming. Sensing that the restriction he had set up was under attack, the skinny man's expression changed slightly. He threw the despairing woman to the ground and moved the small dark green tree with the fruit of life into his universe ring before leaving. Suddenly, the woman whose cultivation should have been restricted and had fallen into despair and shivering suddenly leaped up from the ground, and her palm that was filled with powerful Tao insight fiercely pressed towards his chest. However, the skinny man reacted very quickly and dodged the woman's sneak attack. After her attack missed, the woman followed up with another attack. She continuously performed dazzling Tao techniques in an attempt to injure Bugia severely. However, Bugia's strength was too strong. He easily dispelled her attack. The will of the great Tao gushing out from his body transformed into a huge fish. It opened its bloody mouth and crushed the Tao skill that the woman had used, forcing her to retreat. Then, Bugia kept the small dark green tree into his universe ring. He looked at her coldly and said mockingly, Interesting, I didn't expect there to be a big fish here. Bugia, today is the day you die. Obediently accept your death. A black inner armor appeared on her body, and the woman who had recovered her peak level 6 combat beast emperor strength said coldly, "Ha ha, accept your death. A mere level 6 combat beast emperor like you dares to catch me. I think you're tired of living." Bugia of Nirvana laughed loudly and said arrogantly, "I can't catch you, but someone can." The exploding sounds that reverberated in her ears became louder and louder. The woman revealed a cold and arrogant expression as she held a long sword in front of her chest and said coldly, "Haha, you talking about the people outside, right?" Bugia said arrogantly, "With that person's attainment in array formations, he won't be able to break the array formation that I set up, let alone catch me." As he spoke, Bugia exploded with a power that made the woman suffocate. A large amount of Tao insights quickly gathered and transformed into a big fish that bit towards the woman. Emperor Heavenly Sword Technique. As the big fish bit towards her, the woman's hand shook and immediately performed the Emperor Heavenly Sword Technique. Many kings' swords and Emperor Heavenly Swords intersected and wanted to crush the big fish that Bugia formed. However, this big fish was filled with several top-notch Tao insights, and its power was extremely terrifying. The woman's Emperor Heavenly Sword Technique couldn't break it at all. Emperor's startling heaven slash after being forced to retreat by the Tao inside Big Fish, the woman immediately performed the last move of the Emperor Heavenly Sword Technique. A shocking sword slashed down, and the terrifying sword prowess was mixed with several Tao insights. It split the air and ruthlessly slashed the Tao inside Big Fish. Suddenly, endless Tao insights light surged in the air, and the terrifying power shook the entire ancient pavilion violently. Crack! As the two Tao techniques clashed fiercely, the woman's Emperor shocking heaven slash was broken. The unstoppable Tao insight Big Fish bombarded towards the woman, forcing her to dodge with all her might. However, the Tao insight power that exploded from the Tao insight Big Fish still injured her, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. Emperor Heaven Sword Art, it seems like your status in the Nine Heavens God Nation is not low. Bugia stuck out his tongue, licked his lips, and said excitedly, "I wonder if the people of the Nine Heavens God Nation will be furious if I capture you and use all of your blood and chi to nourish my fruit of life, and then hang your head on the Nine Heavens God Nation city wall." As he spoke, Bugia sped up and approached the woman. He wanted to use his powerful strength to capture her and take her away before the people outside could break the restriction and enter. I soul lock. Seeing how terrifying Bugia was, the woman's expression changed slightly. She summoned several ice-cold soul locks to bind Bugia's body and buy time. Break. An upper-grade Tao artifact, grade, dark gold battle saber, engraved with snake patterns appeared in Bugia's hand. He roared loudly, and the snake patterns on the surface of the dark gold battle saber seemed to come alive, increasing the power of the battle saber and shattering the ice soul lock that was binding him. Tao treasure, million gold pearl. The woman opened her red mouth, and a pearl that was emitting golden light and weighed hundreds of thousands of pounds flew out and attacked Bugia. However, Bugia's strength was too terrifying, and he easily restrained the million gold pearl. He captured the woman and forced her to use the Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom's legacy movement technique to dodge. Seeing the intense battle between Bugia and the woman, the people hiding in the dark corners were even more terrified and trembling. However, one of them revealed a trace of excitement in his eyes. PFFF. Bugia slashed the million gold pearl that weighed hundreds of thousands of pounds with one saber strike. His palm landed on the woman's chest and sent her flying. She smashed through the ancient pavilion and fell outside. Come with me obediently. Bugia revealed a trace of savagery and grabbed at her, wanting to take her away. At the crucial moment, the woman took out a light talisman and spat out a mouthful of blood into the light talisman. It formed an earthy yellow light barrier that enveloped her and blocked Bugia's big hand. She dared to take the risk because she relied on this light talisman that could block Nirvana's experts. Mobile reading site. book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1105. I didn't expect you to possess such a treasure. However, no matter how powerful the treasure is, it won't be able to save your life. Feeling the defense of the earthen yellow light barrier, Bugia opened his mouth and revealed a mouthful of disgusting yellow teeth. In the next moment, a dark golden ancient seal with a lifelike hornless dragon circling around it shot out from his body. Under his control, it kept growing bigger and bigger, emitting a sky-shaking dragon roar. It fiercely imprinted itself onto the earthen yellow light barrier, exploding with boundless destructive power. Buzz after being attacked by the hornless dragon seal, the light barrier immediately trembled, forming a large amount of energy ripples. The terrifying power of the hornless dragon seal forcibly deformed the earthen yellow light barrier. Gu Dao treasure feeling the power of the hornless dragon seal through the earthen yellow light barrier. The woman's expression changed greatly. Once her final trump card was broken, Bugia would definitely not let her go. However, she had no way out. She could only pray that the people outside would quickly break the formation and scare Bugia away. Otherwise, with Bugia's ferocity, she would definitely be tortured to death. Hornless dragon seal, break. Time was tight, so Bugia didn't waste any more time. A Tao of Death diagram appeared on his body, releasing boundless Tao of Death into the hornless dragon seal, increasing the power of the hornless dragon seal. It fiercely smashed onto the earthen yellow light barrier, depleting its energy. Just as the woman's heart fell to the bottom, she placed a highly poisonous pill in her mouth and risked her life. Suddenly, a crack appeared on the violently fluctuating restriction. A blurry figure appeared. Someone had torn apart the restriction and appeared, immediately alarming Bugia. His expression changed slightly. However, when he felt the strength of the person who came, he immediately dismissed the thought of running away. Damn it, a puny level 4 combat beast emperor dares to provoke me. You must be tired of living. Bugia turned his head and looked at the tall figure in a white robe who was standing in midair. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. His rolling Tao will turn into a huge hand and grab at the figure, wanting to crush him. Whoosh! A glaring sword light split out from this white figure, bringing with it an ear-piercing sound of breaking through the air. Like a bolt of lightning that tore through the firmament, the sword tore apart the Tao, while giant hand that Bugia had condensed. Bugia raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect the Tao of Death hand that he condensed to be easily torn apart by a level 4 combat beast emperor. Interesting, I didn't expect you to be a peerless genius. Revealing a mouthful of disgusting yellow teeth, Bugia said, "After I kill you, you will become my life fruit's nourishment. You think you can kill me with your early nirvana strength? You're too naive." A powerful sword intent radiated from the white-clothed man's body. At this moment, he was like an unsheathed divine sword, filled with a dangerous aura. And this white-clothed man who had suddenly appeared was none other than Yi Chenfeng, who had come from afar based on the information provided by the heaven-gazing Marquis. Sensing the invincible sword intent emanating from Yi Chenfeng's body, Bugia's expression changed slightly as he smelled a trace of danger. He quickly recalled the Qi Dragon Seal, the bloodline of the Empyrean burned. Facing Nirvana's Bugia, Yi Chenfeng did not dare to be careless. He decisively ignited his Empyrean bloodline and mobilized the billowing power of heaven to fuse into his body, increasing his strength. In the next moment, the top-grade Dao sword, Ice Dragon Sword, appeared in his hand. His sword pierced through the air, piercing through the universe. Like a meteor that streaked across the sky, the sword pierced towards Bugia. "Die for me." Bugia's pupils shrunk as he held the high-grade black gold battle blade to meet the attack. Billowing Tao intent flooded the black gold battle blade as the sky-piercing blade light shook the heaven and earth. As the sword and blade clashed, An uncontrollable explosion exploded above the void. The terrifying destructive power formed energy ripples in the void, engulfing both Yi Chunfeng and Bujia, crazily destroying their bodies. At this moment, Bujia endured the baptism of the destructive power. His entire body fused with the black gold battle blade, turning into a giant blade that could split the heaven and earth. Interweaving with the majestic power of ancient mountains, he slashed towards Yi Chunfeng, wanting to cut him in half. Divine Devil Bloodline, ignite. Feeling the terror of Bujia's attack, Yi Chunfeng, whose arm was numb, did not hesitate to ignite the second type of bloodline, increasing his strength and physical defense by 3 times. He held the Ice Dragon Sword to meet the attack with full force. Bronze Sword Soul fuse. In order to restrain Bujia's terrifying attack, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Bronze Sword Soul to fuse with the Ice Dragon Sword, increasing the Ice Dragon Sword's attack power to the greatest extent. Streaks of terrifying sword light gushed out like a boundless ocean, slashing towards Bujia's ultimate move. Boom, boom, boom. When the 2 great attacks of the sword and blade clashed fiercely in midair, it formed a terrifying might. Billowing wind waves filled the entire void, and for a moment, the entire space fell into chaos. Although Yi Chunfeng's strength was far inferior to Bujia, his physical defense was far superior to Bujia. Relying on his powerful physical defense, he endured the impact of the destructive power. Yi Chunfeng's entire body fused with the Ice Dragon Sword, thrusting out a sword in the chaotic space. When this sword thrusted out, Bujia smelled a strong sense of danger. Without hesitation, he used the hornless dragon seal to block in front of him, blocking Yi Chunfeng's sword attack. Universe Sword Formation. The instant the Ice Dragon Sword pierced the hornless dragon seal, 36 Universe Sword Formation flew out of Yi Chunfeng's body. Under his sole control, it evolved into an extremely powerful sword formation, trapping Bujia in the formation and crazily strangling him. Boundless sword radiance poured down in torrents. Every single sword radiance was powerful enough to sever mountains and rivers, bringing Bujia a great deal of pressure. In the instant Yi Chunfeng controlled the universe sword formation to attack, the God-Eater brain was still deducing the powerful sound of the Great Tao. The rolling sound patterns were like a melody from the ancient underworld, damaging Bujia's soul, causing him to be in a sorry state. Damn it! Where did this brat come from? Although Yi Chunfeng's strength was far inferior to his, Bujia realized that Yi Chunfeng's methods were endless. With the help of these methods, he was actually able to completely restrain himself. This made him rather angry. Ancient Ho body being completely restrained by the universe sword formation and the sound of the Great Tao, Bujia displayed his powerful trump card. His withered body constantly changed, turning into a skeleton that was over 5 meters tall. His entire body was shining with ancient runes. He waved his white bone spikes, wanting to tear apart the universe sword formation and escape. When Bujia transformed into the ancient Ho body and forcibly tore a hole in the universe sword formation, Yi Chunfeng leaped into the air. The Sword Tao diagram, Life and Death Tao diagram, and 5 Elements Tao diagram appeared on his body. What? 3 Tao diagrams? How is this possible? With his strength as a Class 4 combat beast emperor, how can he cultivate the 3 Great Tao diagrams? Witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng condensing the 3 Great Tao diagrams, a huge wave surged in Bujia's heart. He revealed a look of disbelief. Even he had only condensed 1 Tao diagram. And this was when he borrowed the baptism of the Heaven Domain Gate to cultivate the Nirvana realm. And in terms of quality and power, his Death Tao diagram was far inferior to Yi Chunfeng's Life and Death Tao diagram. Gu Jianga, sword heart connected to the bright moon, just as Bujia was in shock. Yi Chunfeng used his ultimate move. With a thrust of his sword, the sound of the Great Tao resounded through the sky. The 3 Great Tao diagrams simultaneously released boundless Tao intent, which merged with the bronze sword spirit into the Ice Dragon Sword. This sword was like a bright moon hanging high in the sky. With one thrust, it was invincible in the world. It was as if everything in time would be annihilated by his sword. Qi. Affected by the sound of the great Tao, Bujia, whose reaction was slightly delayed, was unable to dodge Yi Qinfeng's gujianga. His defense was pierced through by the sword, and his white-boned chest was cut open. His entire body was sent flying by the terrifying sword might, falling several hundred meters away. If it wasn't for the fact that his ancient Ho body had an extremely strong defense, this sword was enough to split his ancient skeleton body in half. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the save button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1106. Too strong. He's really only a level 4 combat beast emperor. The woman hiding in the earthen yellow light barrier fell into a daze after witnessing Yi Chunfeng heavily injuring Bujia with a single strike. It could be said that the strength Yi Chunfeng displayed had shattered her understanding of the combat beast emperor realm. It made her realize that a combat beast emperor realm expert had the ability to surpass ranks and defeat a nirvana realm expert. Qi and blood combustion in his body was almost split apart by Yi Chunfeng's sword, which completely infuriated Bujia. He didn't hesitate to burn his powerful qi and blood to repair the damage to his bones and stimulate his own potential. Qi Dragon Seal, extinguish. Bujia continuously spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood essence into the Gudao Treasure's Qi Dragon Seal. He controlled the Qi Dragon Seal, which was emitting dragon roars, to become bigger and bigger. It released a boundless pressure and smashed towards Yi Qinfeng. Vermilion Bird Cauldron, Gu Fanxing, Ancient Beast Head Seal, suppress. As the Qi Dragon Seal smashed towards him, Yi Qinfeng immediately summoned the 3 Gudao treasures and faced the Qi Dragon Seal head-on. He borrowed the power of the 3 Gudao treasures to suppress the Qi Dragon Seal. What? 3 Gudao treasures? Bujia was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell out when he saw Yi Chunfeng summon the 3 Gudao treasures. Could he be a prince of some divine nation? When he thought of this, fear arose in Bujia's heart. He wanted to retreat and leave this troublesome place as soon as possible. Sword steps, just as Bujia wanted to break out of the encirclement, Yi Qinfeng suddenly appeared in front of him with the sword steps. Following that, Yi Qinfeng executed his tyrannical leg and kicked towards his chest. Buzz! The chaotic void trembled for a moment. The terrifying tyrannical leg was amplified by several folds of Tao intent. It was like the foot of a mountain crushing the void. It stepped on Bujia's body and cracked the ancient skeleton that was comparable to a mid-grade Tao artifact. It sent him flying and worsened his injuries. Blood escaped as his injuries worsened. Bujia became even more terrified. He immediately activated the life gate and burned his qi and blood in an attempt to escape. Vertigo at this moment, the soul spirit released by Yi Qinfeng smashed into his soul like a heavy hammer. His soul trembled, and a strong sense of dizziness appeared in his soul sea. Although he had a powerful soul and instantly regained consciousness, this short pause was enough for Yi Qinfeng to block him at the life gate. Get the hell out of here! Seeing Yi Qinfeng blocking the way, Bujia, whose blood and qi revolved around his body, charged forward. He wanted to rely on his absolute strength to push Yi Qinfeng away and leave this dangerous place. You're the one getting out of my way. Yi Qinfeng's body erupted with over 200 million gene of strength. He was like an unshakable mountain, standing tall in the air, blocking the ferocious Bujia. Boom! The two of them slammed into each other with a loud bang. In the next moment, Yi Qinfeng took 3 steps back, while Bujia, whose entire body was trembling violently, was pushed back by Yi Qinfeng's explosive strength of over 200 million gene and was knocked back into his original state. How is this possible? Is this guy not a human, but a saint beast? Bujia wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He was really flustered. If he did not experience it personally, he would not believe that he would be countered by a level 4 Beast Emperor expert and be forced into a desperate situation. Ancient underworld tune. While Bujia was in a state of panic, Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce to the extreme. The terrifying sound of the great Tao transformed into the ancient underworld tune, sweeping across the 9 heavens and 10 earths, bombarding Bujia. Under the attack of Yi Chunfeng's ancient underworld tune, the sun, moon, and stars dimmed in color. The sound of yin and yang constantly attacked Bujia's soul and body, causing him to feel a splitting headache. Black water whale Wave Bujia let out a long roar towards the sky. He unleashed the Death Tao diagram to the extreme and transformed into a whale swimming in the black water. He opened his bloody mouth and bit towards Yi Chunfeng. Horizontal/Yi Chunfeng's pupils shrunk as he locked onto the whale formed by the Death Tao diagram. He stabbed out with his sword. The might of the bronze sword soul was unleashed to the extreme. The heaven and earth trembled, and space-time seemed to be in disorder. In a flash, Yi Chunfeng's horizontal slash tore apart the Tao intent whale and stabbed towards Bujia's chest without any decrease in power. Just as Bujia relied on his absolute strength to narrowly dodge the horizontal slash, Yi Chunfeng suddenly appeared above his head like a ghost. With a stomp, the heaven and earth were suppressed, and all living things wailed in agony. The tyrant's foot was extremely heavy. Boom! Bujia was once again trampled by Yi Chunfeng's tyrant's foot. His entire body was smashed into the ground that was filled with cracks. Large amounts of blood flowed out uncontrollably from his body. Hornless dragon seal. Hornless dragon appear. The heavily injured Bujia poured all of his blood and chi into the hornless dragon seal. He controlled the hornless dragon seal to transform into a lifelike hornless dragon. It released boundless dragon's might and attacked Yi Chunfeng, delivering a fatal blow. 9 Flood Dragon Diagram. When the hornless dragon neared, Yi Chunfeng struck out with the 9 Flood Dragon Diagram. He released a powerful Tao intent and soul power into the 9 Flood Dragon Diagram. He opened up the space within the 9 Flood Dragon Diagram and directly sucked the hornless dragon into the 9 Flood Dragon Diagram. He controlled the 9 Flood Dragon spirits to suppress it. Holy treasure. Sensing that the Gu Dao treasure's hornless dragon seal was easily suppressed by the 9 Flood Dragon Diagram, Bujia was completely sure that the 9 Flood Dragon Diagram floating above Yi Chunfeng's head was an extremely powerful holy treasure. Yi Chunfeng was already able to suppress him without using the holy treasure. If he used the holy treasure again, he wouldn't be able to kill Yi Chunfeng even if he had 9 lives. 3 Shadows Blood Escape. Bujia clenched his teeth and executed his final means of escape. Suddenly, his body exploded, transforming into 3 blood silhouettes that fled in 3 different directions. The reason why he was able to escape the pursuit of the 3 Divine Kingdoms powerhouses was because of this escape method. However, the 3 Shadows Blood Escape caused too much damage to his body. Every time he used it, he needed a long time to recover. So unless he had no other choice, he wouldn't use it. Bujia's technique could fool many people, but under the God-Eater brain's rapid deduction, his real body had nowhere to hide. Gujianga, sword heart connected to the moon, controlling the God-Eater brain to lock onto Bujia's real body. Yi Chunfeng used his killer move again. With a slash, the bronze sword soul's power was unleashed to the extreme. Along with the sound of the great Tao, the moon-like sword radiance was branded with the imprint of the great Tao. It shattered all barriers in the world and slashed onto Bujia's body. The boundless Tao intent pressure that was released from Gujianga even exploded the left side of Bujia's body. The immense pain almost made him faint. Tao diagram of death explode. When Yi Chunfeng approached him with his sword steps, the despairing Bujia self-detonated his Tao diagram of death, forming a powerful force of death. He wanted to push Yi Chunfeng back and fight for the last chance to escape. However, Yi Chunfeng's physical body was too strong. Relying on his body that was comparable to a high-grade Tao artifact, he resisted the self-detonation of the Tao diagram of death. In the next moment, 5 sky demon devil chains broke out of his body. Like 5 dragons bearing their fangs and brandishing their claws, they coiled around Bugia's heavily injured body and made him unable to move. Die with me. The despairing Bugia let out a furious roar. He was about to self-detonate his cultivation and perish together with Yi Qinfeng. However, Yi Qinfeng's sword speed was too fast. The ice dragon's sword slashed through the air and directly cut off his head. A large amount of blood spurted out from his severed neck, and he died on the spot. Mobile reading home. Book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1107. Thank you for saving my life. Huarong will never forget your kindness. When Yi Qinfeng killed Bugia and took away his belongings, Huarong, who was deeply shocked by Yi Qinfeng's strength, withdrew her life-saving light barrier. She looked at him with reverence and said gratefully. At this moment, over 10 men and women who had survived the calamity walked out from the crumbling ancient pavilion. They uniformly knelt on the ground and thanked Yi Qinfeng for saving their lives. Bugia has been eliminated. Quickly leave this place. Yi Qinfeng said indifferently as he glanced at Huarong, who had extraordinary looks, long legs, and a dignified expression, giving off a valiant feeling. Then, he looked at the 10-odd men and women kneeling on the ground, trembling in fear. Thank you, benefactor. Thank you, benefactor. It could be said that if Yi Qinfeng did not appear, all of them would have suffered under Bugia's vicious hands. They would be tortured by him and become nutrients for the fruit of life. It was Yi Qinfeng who gave them a second chance at life, which made them shed tears of gratitude. Benefactor, I have a treasure here. Let me give it to you. At this moment, a skinny man with unkempt hair and a dirty face walked in front of Yi Qinfeng. He opened his mouth and spat out a stone that was emitting white light. It looked extraordinary and was covered with Tao patterns. He handed it to Yi Qinfeng. Just as Yi Qinfeng's gaze was attracted by this Tao-patterned stone, the skinny man suddenly crushed the stone, forming a powerful, soul-shaking force that blasted into Yi Qinfeng's mind. In the next moment, this seemingly weak man seemed to have changed into another person. He executed a strange divine ability. His right hand directly entered a special space, wanting to steal Bugia's universe ring that was hidden in Yi Qinfeng's chest. And how could it be gone? When this man's finger penetrated through space and strangely appeared in Yi Qinfeng's chest, he discovered that Bugia's universe ring was gone. So was you. Yi Qinfeng, who had long since moved his universe ring into the universe realm after his soul had been plotted against, recognized the identity of the unkempt man through the divine ability he used. The person who wanted to steal Bugia's relics was none other than Plucker Heaven, who had schemed against him time and time again. After failing to steal Bugia's relic, Planner of Heaven, whose identity had been exposed, did not stay for long. He quickly raised his speed to the peak and dodged Yi Qinfeng's large hand that was grabbing at him. He then flew towards the restriction at extremely fast speed. Vertigo Yi Qinfeng didn't give Heaven Plucker a chance to escape. The powerful soul in his mind formed a dizzying force that ruthlessly blasted into Heaven Plucker's soul, wanting to slow him down. However, Heaven Plucker's soul was too special. Even after being hit by Yi Qinfeng's stun spell, it wasn't affected at all. It directly broke through Yi Qinfeng's obstruction. Heaven and Earth Sword Formation. The moment Heaven Plucker rushed out, Yi Qinfeng controlled the 36 Heaven and Earth Sword formations to form a profound sword formation that enveloped the void, wanting to trap Heaven Plucker in the formation. At this moment, Heaven Plucker suddenly executed a strange divine ability that increased his speed by several times. He flew out at a speed that surpassed the Heaven and Earth Sword formation and appeared at the edge of the restriction. Ancient Underworld Melody. After failing to obstruct him again and again, Yi Qinfeng controlled the God-engulfing brain to deduce rapidly. It formed an extremely powerful Great Tao melody that evolved into the Ancient Underworld Melody and attacked Heaven Plucker's soul once again. Although Heaven Plucker relied on his powerful soul to resist the stun spell, He was unable to resist the ancient underworld melody evolved from the great Tao melody. An immense pain was produced in his mind, causing his reaction and speed to slow down slightly. 9 Flood Dragon Diagram. Seizing this opportunity, Yi Chunfeng controlled the 9 Flood Dragon Diagram to release a powerful devouring force that engulfed Heaven Plucker. He wanted to engulf Heaven Plucker in the diagram and use the spirits of the 9 Flood Dragons to suppress him. You want to capture me? Try again in your next life. Enduring the intense pain in his soul, Heaven Plucker's body suddenly shot out strands of strange power. This power wasn't the power of Tao intent, but it was even more powerful than Tao intent. Under the effect of this power, a vacuum area appeared around Heaven Plucker's body. The devouring force released by the 9 Flood Dragon diagram was completely blocked. Bronze Sword Soul break. Yi Chunfeng's pupils constricted. The bronze sword soul shot out of his mind like a meteor that streaked across the sky. It pierced through the vacuum area around Heaven Plucker's body and stabbed towards him. The bronze sword soul's attack speed was too fast and impossible to guard against. It tore through Heaven Plucker's defenses like a hot knife through butter and left a deep sword mark on his body. A large amount of blood flowed out. Ancient Beast Talisman Heaven Plucker's expression changed slightly when he sensed the bronze sword soul's attack, and he decisively summoned the Gu Dao treasure Ancient Beast Talisman he stole from the Zhou clan's ruins. He controlled it to transform into an ancient beast with extraordinary divine might that erupted with the power of destruction to resist the bronze sword soul. In the next moment, he summoned the azure bronze spirit vessel and fiercely collided with the restrictions that Bujias set up while he was alive. He relied on the might of the spirit vessel to forcefully smash open a large hole in the restrictions before charging out. Sky split hand when Heaven Plucker controlled the azure bronze spirit vessel to kill his way out of the encirclement. Yi Chunfeng chased up with sword steps. He controlled numerous Tao insights to condense into a sky split hand that grabbed onto the spirit vessel that was flying at extreme speeds. But the energy contained within the spirit vessel was truly too terrifying. In merely a breath of time, the spirit vessel that was flying at extreme speeds shattered the sky split hand that Yi Chunfeng condensed before flying out of the 100-Tine mountain range with extreme speed and vanishing in next to no time. Alas, Heaven Plucker truly has too many abilities. It's too difficult to capture him. Looking at Heaven Plucker, who was escaping on the azure bronze spirit vessel, Yi Chunfeng sighed softly and said somewhat helplessly, "Fortunately, Bujia's relic was not stolen by him. Otherwise, it would be harder than ascending to the heavens to get the fruit of life back from him." "Young master, who is that person?" When Huarong saw Heaven Planner escaping from Yi Chunfeng's hands and even possessing a saint artifact and a treasure like the azure bronze spirit vessel, she was once again shocked. She passed through the restriction that was knocked open by the spirit vessel and arrived beside Yi Chunfeng, who was deep in thought before asking softly. At this time, Huarong's 2 helpers also appeared. One of them was the one who was used by Heaven Plucker and had a conflict with Yi Chunfeng. He was known as the second divine arrester of 9 heavens' divine nation, Gui Zhuifeng. He was a wanted criminal of 9 heavens' divine nation, Heaven Plucker Yi Chunfeng. He coldly glanced at Gui Zhuifeng and said lightly, "What? He is the Heaven Plucker?" Huarong raised her brows and said in surprise, "How did he become like this?" Gui Zhuifeng frowned. Thinking of the humiliation brought to him by Heaven Plucker, his face became extremely ugly. This Heaven Plucker's skills are extraordinary and can change into thousands of forms. I once had a relationship with him, but I still don't know whether he is a man or a woman. Yi Chunfeng said lightly, "Okay, I'm leaving. You guys leave too. Wait, I wonder if young master can tell me your identity so that I can repay young master's life-saving grace in the future." Huarong saw Yi Chunfeng was about to leave and immediately stopped him. "It's just a small matter. You don't have to worry too much about it." After speaking, Yi Chunfeng did not hesitate. His body slightly flashed and turned into an afterimage, disappearing into the forest. Mobile reading site, book address, In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click this save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1108. Myriad Bamboo City was a city built against a mountain within the nine heavens' divine kingdom. The city was filled with tall and verdant bamboos. Looking from afar, it looked like a verdant sea. It was very beautiful. Besides the pleasant scenery of Myriad Bamboo City that made people forget to leave, it was also a rather famous trading city. Every day, a large amount of resources would flow into Myriad Bamboo City, attracting a large number of cultivators to come here to trade for the treasures they needed. On the wide streets of Myriad Bamboo City, one could see cultivators with extraordinary strength and astonishing talent everywhere. Among them, there were also many alchemists and refiners. After smoothly killing Bugia and obtaining the three fruits of life, Yi Chenfeng did not immediately return to vast sky capital. Instead, he came to Myriad Bamboo City. The reason he came to Myriad Bamboo City was because when he left the 100 Mang mountain range, he felt that someone was following him. And there was only one person who had the guts to follow him, and that was Heaven Plucker. Heaven Plucker, do you really think I can't catch you? Since you're seeking death again and again, don't blame me for being impolite. Walking on the wide streets of Myriad Bamboo City, Yi Chenfeng's powerful soul sensed that Heaven Plucker had followed him into Myriad Bamboo City. His eyes couldn't help but reveal a trace of coldness. However, Heaven Plucker's methods were astonishing. Wanting to catch him would not be easy. He would need to properly deploy his forces. Myriad Herb Tower as Yi Chenfeng walked, a pavilion completely made of ancient wood and enveloped in an ancient formation entered his eyes. It gave off an ancient air and gave off an ancient aura. Glancing at the signboard hanging high above the pavilion, Yi Chenfeng walked into the somewhat deserted Myriad Herb Tower. A thick medicinal fragrance wafted through the air as Yi Chenfeng purchased medicinal herbs. Young master, may I ask what age of medicinal herbs you wish to purchase? Just as Yi Chenfeng walked into Myriad Herb Tower, a shop assistant wearing a green robe and giving off a refined feeling immediately stepped forward and politely inquired. Medicinal herbs over 10,000 years old, Yi Chenfeng indifferently replied. Young master, please come inside. I will invite the number 1 pharmacist of the 10,000 Herbs Tower to speak with young master. The shop assistant's eyes lit up as he sized up Yi Chenfeng, who had an extraordinary bearing from head to toe. With a charming smile on his face, he respectfully led Yi Chenfeng to the inner hall of the second floor of the 100 Herbs building. Soon, a woman with long dark green hair and flame-like lips appeared. She still retained her charm. She wore a long black dress and had long dark green hair. I heard that young master wants to buy 10,000-year-old herbs. I wonder what kind of herbs young master wants to buy. The charming woman ordered someone to pour a cup of tea full of spirit energy for Yi Chenfeng. She elegantly sat across from him, crossed her slender legs, and softly asked, I want to buy the dragon saliva grass, serene orchid grass, yellow spring bamboo, and illusory heart fruit. The older the better, especially the dragon saliva grass. I want to buy one that is 100,000 years old and above. Do you have any? Yi Chenfeng took a sip of the spirit tea and slowly asked, Young master, the value of the dragon saliva grass itself is very high. The value of a dragon saliva grass that is more than 100,000 years old is definitely not lower than a high-quality mid-grade Dao tool. The charming woman's eyes lit up as she glanced at Yi Chenfeng, who was calmly sipping his tea, and said softly, I know. If you have the 4 types of spiritual herbs that I need, I am willing to pay a high price for them. Yi Chenfeng nodded and said in a rich and overbearing manner, The Myriad Herb Tower has the 4 types of medicinal herbs that young master needs. Among them, the dragon saliva grass is more than 80,000 years old, and the illusory heart fruit is more than 40,000 years old. If young master wants to buy them all, you will need 8 million high-grade soul crystals. The charming woman calculated and said, Deal. Yi Chenfeng revealed a faint smile and said without hesitation, Young master, is indeed a forthright person. I I will go and get the spiritual items for young master." The charming woman's smile became even wider as she spoke with a charming expression. After doing this business, the Myriad Herb Tower would make a lot of money. 1 hour later, Yi Chunfeng was respectfully sent off by the charming woman as he left the Myriad Herb Tower. Out of the corner of his eye, he glanced at a lively tea house next to the Myriad Herb Tower and revealed a thought-provoking smile as he slowly left. As the sun set in the west, the afterglow spilled over the Myriad Bamboo City. The golden glow covered the verdant bamboos with a beautiful golden veil. Yi Chunfeng wandered around the picturesque Myriad Bamboo City. As the sky grew darker, he came to the largest brothel in the city, the Bamboo Shadow Jade House, which was decorated with a unique style. As soon as he walked into the Bamboo Shadow Jade House, which was filled with the sounds of women and the fragrance of cosmetics, a woman in a bright red dress, whose body was like a ripe peach that made people want to take a bite, swayed her sexy waist as she walked over. She said with great enthusiasm, "Young master, you look unfamiliar. Is this your first time at my Bamboo Shadow Jade House? And I heard that the Bamboo Shadow Jade House is unparalleled in beauty, so I came to take a look. I hope you don't disappoint me." Yi Chunfeng looked at the woman in the red dress, who was wearing heavy makeup but still had a charming face, and said lightly, "Hee, don't worry, young master. My Bamboo Shadow Jade House is heaven on earth. I guarantee that young master will have a good time and forget about home. You won't want to leave." The woman in the red dress let out a series of crisp laughter. Her ample bosom rose and fell one after another, which attracted people's hearts. "Arrange a private room for me, bring me a few pots of aged wine, and find a few beautiful girls to drink with me." Yi Chunfeng took out a valuable luminous pearl from his heaven and earth ring and stuffed it into the woman's hand as he spoke with great generosity. "Young master, please come in. Good wine and beautiful girls will be here soon." The woman in the red dress did not expect that Yi Chunfeng would be so generous. She immediately burst with joy and took the initiative to stick close to him. She personally led him into the room, which was filled with a faint fragrance. The room was fully furnished, and the walls were embroidered with a captivating picture. After a while, 10 charming women wearing white tulle dresses, with light makeup on their faces, skin as smooth as milk, and plump bosom without restraint, exuding a faint fragrance, walked into the room. They stood in a row in front of Yi Chunfeng. These 10 women were originally sexy and enchanting, plus their faintly discernible spring scenery and their seemingly bashful and shy expressions carried infinite flirtatious feelings. It was enough to make men fall head over heels for them. "Young master, they're the top girls in my Bamboo Shadow Jade House. Each one of them has unique skills. I guarantee that they will satisfy young master." The woman in the red dress enthusiastically introduced them to Yi Chunfeng. "Why are you all in a daze? Why aren't you greeting young master? Not bad, not bad. Bamboo Shadow Jade House is indeed worthy of its reputation. But I have a hobby. I like the fragrance of women. Come, let me smell it." While speaking, Yi Chunfeng slowly stood up and came to the side of the 10 women, whose sexy skin was exposed and whose body was provocative. He put his nose close to their bodies, took a deep breath, and slowly savored the unique fragrance of their bodies, causing these women to laugh endlessly. Not bad, not bad. And you stay with me. If you perform well today, I will reward you heavily." After savoring the unique fragrance of the 10 women, Yi Chunfeng pointed to 3 beautiful, charming, and moving women, whose body exuded a strong fragrance, and said, "Why are you all in a daze? Why aren't you serving young master? You must make young master happy." The woman in the red dress with a charming smile explained, and then left with the remaining 7 women. As soon as the woman in the red dress and the others left, a short maidservant, wearing an emerald green dress and with a young face, walked into the room with 2 pots of good wine. She glanced at Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting among the flowers with a face full of enjoyment, and put the 2 pots of good wine on the table. "Wait a minute." When a maidservant in the green dress was about to leave, Yi Chunfeng suddenly stretched out his big hand and grabbed her white and tender wrist. Sizing up her blushing pretty face with great interest, he said, "I think you are not bad. Stay with me tonight." Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1109. Young Master. I'm just a maid who serves tea and drinks. No, I don't drink with guests. The green-robed woman said with a blushing face. She was struggling to break free from Yi Chenfeng's big hand. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement test. It's your fortune that this young master has taken a fancy to you. 1,000,000 top-grade soul crystals to accompany me for a night, Yi Chenfeng said in a playful manner. As soon as Yi Chenfeng's words fell, the eyes of the three charming women sitting beside him suddenly lit up. They were exuding a strong fragrance of cosmetics. They looked at Yi Chenfeng with burning eyes. "Young master, please let me go. I really don't want to sell my body." The young woman refused with red eyes. "Young master, what's so fun about a little girl? Why don't you let us three sisters accompany you to have some fun? We promise to make you feel like an immortal." A charming woman directly pressed her soft body against Yi Chenfeng's arm. Her red lips slightly parted as she said in a seductive manner, 2,000,000 top-grade soul crystals to accompany me for a night. The more the young woman refused, the more interested Yi Chenfeng became. He tightly grasped the young woman's wrist. He looked at her blushing face and flustered eyes, and said in a rich and overbearing manner. The three charming women who were trying to seduce him were completely ignored by him. The three women were so angry that their teeth itched. "Young master." Yi Chenfeng continued to raise the price for 3,000,000 top-grade soul crystals. 5,000,000 to accompany me for a night." Yi Chenfeng smiled. He stretched out 5 fingers and said in a heroic manner. He gradually broke down the young woman's defenses. 5,000,000. Not only the young woman was dumbfounded when she heard Yi Chenfeng raise the price. The three dissatisfied women were also dumbfounded. They looked at Yi Chenfeng as if they had seen a mountain of gold. Their eyes shone. "Young master, are you really going to give me 5,000,000 top-grade soul crystals?" The young woman gently bit her lips. She looked at Yi Chenfeng in shock. She was stunned by Yi Chenfeng's extravagant spending. "Yes, as long as you promise to accompany me for a night, I will give you 5,000,000 top-grade soul crystals. Moreover, I can give you the soul crystals first." When Yi Chenfeng saw the slightly moved child, the smile on his face grew even wider as he spoke heroically. "Okay, I can accompany young master for one night, but it must be only me." The child gently bit her lips as if she had made a great decision and said with a charming face. Saying that, Yi Chenfeng took out a heavy Chinquin bag, put on the table, and said, "There are 300,000 high-grade soul crystals in this Chinquin bag. It's your reward. You can leave now." "Young master, you really don't need us sisters to serve you anymore. Our skill in serving people is not something that a little girl like her can compare to. We promise that we will make young master feel like he's floating in the clouds." One of the women glared fiercely at the child who had ruined their good fortune, gently shook Yi Chenfeng's arm, and said softly, "No need." Yi Chenfeng impatiently waved his hand and said, "What are you waiting for? Take the high-grade soul crystal and leave. Don't ruin this young master's mood." Yes, seeing that Yi Chenfeng had made up his mind, the three women did not dare to pester him anymore. They picked up the Chinquin bag on the table, glared at the child, and left angrily. "Little beauty, there are 5,000,000 top-grade soul crystals in this Chinquin ring. Now she belongs to you. Come, I'll put it on for you." With that, Yi Chenfeng, like a veteran, directly pulled the red-faced, slightly stiff green-dressed woman into his arms. He gently stroked her soft and smooth little hand and put a Chinquin ring on her finger. "By the way, I have a good thing for you. I promise you'll like it." Yi Chenfeng took out an exquisite jade box inlaid with gold from the Chinquin ring and gently opened it in front of the child. Suddenly, a strong fragrance spread out from the jade box, making people feel comfortable all over, and all the cells in their body become active at this moment. What is this? Looking at the almost solid, milky white spiritual liquid in the jade box, the child couldn't help but smell it and asked in surprise. This is a good thing. I spent a lot of money to buy it. One drop can make people feel energetic, their soul will leave their body, and they will forget themselves. Yi Chunfeng showed a trace of a wicked smile and said, "Do you want to try it? I promise you won't forget tonight." No, young master, please forgive me. I don't want to eat this thing." Looking at the smile on Yi Chunfeng's face, the child guessed what this spiritual liquid was. She was scared to tears and quickly refused. "I really don't want to eat it," Yi Chunfeng said wickedly. "You are so shy. If you don't eat it, how can you serve this young master well?" "No, I won't eat it even if I die." The child tightly bit her pale lips and begged bitterly, "Young master, please forgive me. I promise I can serve you well." "Well, then let's see your performance tonight. If you can't serve me well, I won't forgive you." With that, Yi Chunfeng directly carried the child, whose body was stiff and face was slightly pale, by the waist, walked to the soft wooden bed, and threw her on the bed rudely. Young master, let Lianer take off your clothes." The child gently sat up, tightly biting her lips, looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was staring at her, and said slightly nervously, "You're in such a hurry to take off my clothes. Don't tell me you want to steal my things." Yi Chunfeng looked down at her white neck, symmetrical collarbone, and the faintly discernible waves hidden in her green dress, and said with deep meaning, "Young master, what are you talking about? How can I steal your things?" The child's face changed slightly, and she looked into Yi Chunfeng's eyes and said, "I just said it casually. Don't mind it." Yi Chunfeng smiled and quickly set up 3 layers of restriction in the room and said, "The night is long. Let me see who you are." With that, Yi Chunfeng reached out his big hand and grabbed the clothes on the child, trying to tear her clothes off. "Pa!" With a clear sound, the child suddenly reached out her small white hand and slapped away Yi Chunfeng's big hand and said coldly, "Do you know who I am?" Yi Chunfeng looked at the child, whose eyes suddenly became sharp, as if she had changed into a different person, and said, "Do you think I'm a playboy who likes to go to brothels and take advantage of beautiful women? It seems that you're doing all this for me." The child tidied up her somewhat messy clothes and said lightly, but there was no trace of panic on her face, "You finally figured it out." The smile on Yi Chunfeng's face became wider, and he said slowly, "Heaven Plucker, how about we make a bet? Let's bet whether I can catch you today. If you want to catch me, you can do it in your next life." With that, a black light rose from the Heaven Plucker's body and covered her body. When her identity was exposed, the Heaven Plucker wanted to use her magical power to escape. But the moment she used her magical power, she suddenly felt that the soul power in her body was rapidly decreasing, and there was a trace of powerlessness in her body. Even her soul, was dizzy. "Poison, you poisoned me." Feeling the change in her body, the Heaven Plucker's face changed slightly, and she glared at Yi Chunfeng. "Do you know why I chose to come to this brothel, and why I chose those 3 girls? Only by using the fragrance of this brothel and their bodies can I cover up the poison in the air. Coupled with the fragrance of the soul dissolving powder, which cost me 8 million high-grade soul crystals to refine, it's enough to poison you without you even realizing it. Now, can you let me see your true appearance?" Yi Chunfeng looked at Planner, whose expression had changed drastically, and tried to grab her again. Mobile reading home, book address. In order to facilitate the next reading, you can click on the save at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you can see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1110. Although Plunder Heaven really wanted to avoid Yi Chunfeng's big hand, her whole body was weak and powerless due to the poison. She could only watch as Yi Chunfeng's big hand grabbed her clothes. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test 81 Chinese network Roam 1 with a ripping sound. Plunder Heaven's clothes were torn apart, revealing her white skin that was as tender as snow. It was faintly discernible, moving up and down, and the enchanting waves hidden in the white dew. Not bad, not bad. What did you eat growing up? Your chest muscles are a mess. If I'm not wrong, you should be the type that grabs the railing and tears the sheets in bed. Looking at Plunder Heaven's plump body and the twin peaks that were about to burst out, Yi Chen-feng was basically sure that the seemingly lustful Plunder Heaven was actually a woman. He looked at her with interest and said playfully, "You and I are men. Don't you feel disgusted that you're interested in a man?" Plunder Heaven's eyes shot out thick flames as she glared at Yi Chen-feng and said loudly, "Oh, so you're a man. But how come I couldn't tell?" Yi Chen-feng pretended to be surprised and said, Come, let me strip you naked and study you to see if you're a man or a woman. You don't mess around." Seeing Yi Chen-feng's big hand reach over again, Plunder Heaven's expression changed slightly. She tightly grabbed her heavily damaged clothes and warned loudly. But as soon as Plunder Heaven's voice fell, Yi Chen-feng's big hand grabbed the long skirt hanging over her chest and pulled hard, tearing her heavily damaged skirt and even her doo-doo. If Plunder Heaven didn't protect her plump twin peaks, this pull would have been enough to expose her. But even if she protected her twin peaks with all her might, her charming cleavage was still exposed, and the undulating curves were still exposed. "Feng Chen, do you believe they'll chop off your hand?" Plunder Heaven's hands tightly covered her chest as she glared at Yi Chen-feng and roared loudly. "AI, look, I didn't want to do this." Yi Chen-feng sighed softly and said, "Just now, I only wanted to test the relationship between the hand and the brain. But after my test, sometimes the hand really isn't controlled by the brain. If it wasn't for the fact that her body was too weak, she would have jumped up and fought with Yi Chen-feng for 300 rounds. Planner, won't you let me see your true face?" Yi Chen-feng ignored Planner's angry glare and slowly said, "But if you refuse, my disobedient hands might do something out of line. For example, pulling apart your arms or tearing off the hem of your skirt. You shameless Plunder the Heavens." She gritted her teeth and roared angrily. "My patience is limited. If you don't show your face when I count to 3, then don't blame me for being impolite." Yi Chen-feng said with a confident look, "Although you may not look good, I have always been a kind person. I don't mind having a baby with you. All right, I can let you see my true face, but you have to promise me that after seeing my true face, you can't hurt me and you have to let me go." Completely at a disadvantage, Heaven Plunder bit her lips and faced Yi Chen-feng's playful eyes and said, "How could it be so easy to let you go?" Yi Chen-feng sneered and said, "You always scheme against me. If I don't teach you a lesson, you really think I'm easy to mess with. But if you cooperate, I can promise not to hurt you." "All right, stop wasting time. Don't make me lose my patience," Yi Chen-feng said indifferently as he crossed his arms before his chest and looked at the furious Heaven Plucker. "You win." Heaven Plunderer secretly used the mysterious power in her body and tried several times, but she couldn't get rid of the poison in her body. She had a compromise. She took out a bottle of medicine from her Chinquin ring, squeezed out a drop, and pressed it on her forehead. Immediately, rays of illusory light shot out, and her angry face kept changing until it finally returned to its original appearance. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect you to not be an ugly monster." Yi Chen-feng smiled faintly as he looked at Heaven Plucker's sapphire-like eyes that gave off a deep blue light. She had a hint of seductiveness between her brows, exquisite facial features, and seductive pink lips. She was an absolute stunner. "You are the ugly monster. Your whole family are ugly monsters." Heaven Plunderer's waves kept rising and falling as she said angrily. Okay, don't be angry." Yi Chen-feng smiled faintly and said, "Tell me, you're not ugly. Why do you always pretend to be a man and flirt with women? Do you have some special fetish? So what if I like women? Using your pluck the heavens to control me," he said fiercely as he rolled his eyes at Yi Chen-feng. "So you like women. So do I. Why don't we talk about what's good about women?" Yi Chen-feng's mouth slightly raised, looking like he was going to eat Heaven Plunderer. "You all right? I will ask you a few questions now. If you answer me honestly, I promise I won't hurt you. But if you hide something or lie to me, then don't blame me for being rude." Yi Chen-feng said in a threatening tone, "A beautiful girl like you, I really don't mind having a baby with you." Okay, ask away. People under the eaves had to lower their heads. Unable to expel the poison in her body and unable to use her supernatural power, Heaven Plunderer could only listen obediently. What is your name? Where are you from? Yi Chenfeng moved a chair over and sat across from the Heaven Plucker. Then he looked at her pretty face that was so charming that it did not have any bones in it, and the spring scenery that was exposed to the air. Can you change the question? Heaven Plunderer bit her lips and said, Rip. As soon as Heaven Plunderer's voice fell, Yi Chenfeng reached out and tore off her skirt, revealing her white, slender, and flawless legs. He warned, Remember, if you talk nonsense again, it won't be as simple as tearing off your skirt. I will pull off all your clothes and tie you up for questioning. Answer my question. I am Du Qian, and my family was destroyed by enemies 10 years ago. Heaven Plunderer curled up her legs and glared at Yi Chenfeng, gritting her teeth and saying, Navel. Your name is Navel. Hearing Heaven Plunderer's words, Yi Chenfeng almost laughed out loud. He teased, Your name was really given by your father. Feng Chun, I'm warning you. You can humiliate me, but you can't humiliate my father. Otherwise, I'll definitely kill you. Heaven Plucker was suddenly enraged, and flames shot out of his eyes as he furiously glared at Yi Chenfeng. Okay, I was wrong. Looking at the emotional Heaven Plunderer, Yi Chenfeng rubbed his nose and said, To express my apology, I will cover you with a sheet. With that, Yi Chenfeng pulled up the sheet on the side to cover Heaven Plunderer's alluring body that could make men go crazy. All right, second question. Why do you know so many secrets of the Central World? Because my master told me all of them. Heaven Plunder bit her lips and hesitated before speaking. Who is your master? Yi Chenfeng continued to ask. Remember, you better not think about lying to me. Otherwise, I don't mind searching your soul. Although it may fail, you should know the consequences of failure. If you don't want to die and become an idiot, then answer my questions honestly. My master is called Heaven Plunderer. He was once the #1 thief in the Central World. However, he was heavily injured by the old godly king of the 9 Heavens God Kingdom. Now, he has been recuperating. Hearing Yi Chenfeng's warning, Heaven Plunderer's body inexplicably trembled, and she answered obediently. Okay, I have one last question. Have you mastered the laws of space? Yi Chenfeng looked into Heaven Plunderer's eyes and suddenly asked. Buzz. As soon as Yi Chenfeng finished speaking, Heaven Plunderer's soul trembled. Her eyes suddenly widened and revealed a look of disbelief. She didn't think that Yi Chenfeng would see through her biggest secret. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1111. I don't know what the space rule is. You are wrong. Planner's pupils constricted as she looked at Yi Chenfeng in disbelief and denied. 81 Text Delta Network 1 Planner. Do you know what is the most obvious sign of a woman lying? That is, her breasts will become bigger. Come, let me see if the rumor is wrong. Although Planner didn't answer directly, looking at her shocked expression, Yi Chenfeng had already confirmed his guess. He reached out to grab Planner's hand that was covering her chest, intentionally pulling her hand away. You shameless. I didn't lie to you. You can't hurt me. Planner of the Heavens resisted, but her body was too weak, and she couldn't resist Yi Chenfeng at all. I'm shameless. Yi Chenfeng smiled coldly and said, When I was trying to reason with you, you acted shamelessly. Now that I am acting shamelessly, you want to reason with me? Planner, are you still not clear about your situation? If you're not honest, then don't blame me for being impolite. With that said, Yi Chenfeng's right hand stroked her smooth thigh, creating electric currents, causing Planner's face to turn red. Let me tell you, how did you obtain the space rule? Yi Chenfeng looked straight into Planner's panicked eyes and asked without any resistance. Yes, my master told me. Feeling the numbness coming from her thigh, Planner felt like a little wildcat was scratching her heart again. Her whole body trembled, and she had no choice but to confess. It was really the space rule. Time was king, Space was respected. She didn't expect that the soul-fighting continent actually had the space rule inheritance. When Yi Qinfeng merged with the soul memory of the God-Eater brain, he inadvertently learned about the time rule and the space rule. It could be said that these two rules had broken away from the power of the Great Tao and were comparable to the power of origin. If he could learn it, the space rule would definitely become his biggest trump card. With the help of the mysterious space power, even old monster Nirvana wouldn't be able to kill him. Heaven Plucker, how about we make a deal? I will save you, Master, and you will teach me the spatial laws that you have grasped. Yi Qinfeng moved his hand away from Heaven Plucker's thigh and looked at her beautiful face. It's not that I'm looking down on you, but my master was injured by the old God King of the Nine Heavens divine kingdom. With your mediocre skills, how can you save my master? She snorted and glared at Yi Qinfeng. I have the living spirit grass and the living spirit. Do you think I can save your master? Yi Qinfeng took out a life spirit grass and a life spirit from his universe mirror and slowly said, where on earth did you hide these treasures? Heaven Plucker felt that Yi Qinfeng had a huge secret on him, and the treasures hidden in that secret were absolutely astonishing. Heaven Plucker, you talk too much nonsense. Yi Qinfeng gently lifted her white and tender chin and met her eyes. He coldly said, how about it? Are you willing to make a deal with me? Okay, as long as you heal my master's injury, I will teach you the space rule. Heaven Plucker didn't avoid Yi Qinfeng's eyes and bitter lips. No, I must first obtain the secret of the space rule before I can cure your master. Yi Qinfeng shook his head and said without any room for resistance. That's impossible. Heaven Plucker refused. The space rule is in my master's hands. I only learn a little bit of it and can't teach it to you. Then we can't come to an agreement. Yi Qinfeng revealed a trace of a cold smile and threatened. You should know the consequences of rejecting me. Believe it or not, even if you kill me, it's useless. Do you think you can learn a profound secret like the space rule by simply speaking? If that's the case, then don't blame me for searching your soul. With that, a mid-grade Dao tool level-long whip appeared in Yi Qinfeng's hand and bound Heaven Plucker's exposed body. He was going to borrow the power of the God-Eater brain to search her soul. No, you don't mess around. Heaven Plucker knew the danger of soul searching. The slightest discomfort would cause immeasurable damage to the soul. Moreover, Heaven Plucker didn't want Yi Qinfeng to know too many of her secrets. However, Yi Qinfeng's poison was too terrifying. It almost scattered all the strength and soul power in her body. She couldn't break free from the whip's binding. Fengchun, I was wrong. Please let me go. Heaven Plucker panicked. A trace of tears flowed out from the corner of her eyes and dyed her beautiful face. She kept begging for mercy. I really didn't lie to you. The space rule that my master passed to me is recorded in a stone tablet that he controls. Only by obtaining that stone tablet can I learn the space rule. Hearing Heaven Plucker's begging, Yi Qinfeng was unmoved. He controlled the power of the God-Eater brain to enter Heaven Plucker's soul and forcefully searched her soul. And this is a soul imprint. When the God-Eater brain's power entered Heaven Plucker's soul, Yi Qinfeng revealed a trace of astonishment. He hesitated for a moment and moved his right hand away from her head. Fengchun, as long as you don't search my soul, I can agree to any of your requests. Even if you want my body, I'm willing. Please don't search my soul, don't peek at my secrets. Heaven Plucker cried and kept begging for mercy. Right now, she was no longer the terrifying and helpless Heaven Plucker. She was just a little girl who wanted to keep her secrets. Okay, don't cry. Let me ask you a few things. Yi Qinfeng looked at the crying Heaven Plucker and slowly said, Did you give all the spirit items that you stole to your master? Heaven Plucker sobbed. Then do you know that your master left an imprint in your soul? Yi Qinfeng thought for a moment and continued to ask. Impossible. There's no way master would leave an imprint in my soul. Heaven Plucker vigorously shook her head and denied. It seems that I guessed right. Your master groomed you to use you. Yi Qinfeng slowly said, In your soul's memory, it is indeed impossible for me to obtain the secrets of space. Impossible? There's no way master would use me. There's no way she would leave an imprint in my soul. Heaven Plucker angrily said, Feng Chun, don't slander me. Fine, then how about we make a bet? Let's see if there's an imprint in your soul. Yi Chenfeng lightly said, if I win, you take me to see your master. If I lose, I'll let you go immediately. The real Heaven Plucker looked at Yi Chenfeng suspiciously and said, don't joke, Yi Chenfeng said. Okay, I'll bet with you. Thinking of how well Heaven Plucker treated her, Heaven Plucker didn't believe that her master would use her to leave an imprint in her soul. Don't resist now. I'll find a way to break the imprint in your soul. Then you'll know if I'm lying to you. With that, Yi Chenfeng pressed his hand on Heaven Plucker's head again. He controlled the power of the God-Eater brain to enter and devour the soul imprint hidden in Heaven Plucker's soul sea. How is this possible? With the power of the God-Eater brain, Heaven Plucker clearly felt that there was a vague soul imprint hidden in the deepest part of her soul. And from the power of the soul imprint being stimulated, this soul imprint was made by her master. Is master really using me? She's afraid that I'll lose control and leave a backup plan in my soul. Heaven Plucker's heart was in a mess. Painful thoughts flashed through her mind. Don't think too much. Wait until I break the soul imprint in your soul sea. Feeling that Heaven Plucker's soul was very unstable, Yi Chenfeng's voice sounded in her ears and reminded her. The soul imprint in Heaven Plucker's soul sea was very scary. Yi Chenfeng used the power of the God-Eater brain and carefully devoured it for more than 6 hours. He finally devoured it at dawn. Phew, okay. Now you should believe my words, right? After successfully devouring the soul imprint in Heaven Plucker's soul sea, Yi Chenfeng let out a long sigh of relief. He looked at Heaven Plucker's pale face and empty eyes and said slowly, Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click the save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you'll see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 11-12. Why? Because of her family's destruction, she saw thieving as her only family in this world. But now, she found out that the person closest to her didn't believe her and was even using her. This made her heart feel like it was being cut by a knife, and she couldn't accept this fact. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test 81, Chinese network, 1 tell me. Why did he do this? Tears gushed out of Thieving's eyes again. She looked at Yi Chenfeng and asked while sobbing, People's hearts are sinister. There are some things you shouldn't ask me. You should ask your master. With that, he withdrew the whip, binding her body and restored her freedom. He slowly said, Okay, you lost the bet. Calm down and take me to see your master. She muttered to herself, Do the heavens hate me so much that they want me to be alone for the rest of my life? No, I won't go. I will never go. I won't see him. Warm images flashed through her mind. These images were Thieving's most precious memories. When she was at her most helpless and most dangerous moment, Thieving appeared and saved her. In order to avenge her, he didn't hesitate to go to war with 9 Heavens' divine kingdom. In the end, he was injured by the 9 Heavens' divine kingdom's old god king. Thieving couldn't believe that Thieving would use her. Could it be that he had his own difficulties? Yes, Master must have his own difficulties. He definitely wouldn't use me or harm me. After thinking about it, Thieving decided to never see Thieving again. She would rather let all the suspicions and possibilities rot in her heart than to break this final window paper. She would rather believe in lies and keep these warm images. At least this way, she would feel that her heart was still warm. She still had family in this world, and she wasn't alone. Thieving, don't tell me you don't want to admit it? Yi Chenfeng didn't know the importance of family to her and didn't know about Thieving's change of mind. He coldly said, Feng Chun, I just lied to you. I accept the punishment. You can do whatever you want to me. Even if you kill me, I won't hate you. Plucker suddenly put down his hands that were covering his chest and looked at Yi Chenfeng with empty eyes and said, I know you are very angry. If my body can calm your anger, then come. Looking at Planner's flawless and hot body, her sexy and symmetrical collarbone, which was exposed to the air without any concealment, her slightly trembling breasts, her seductive curves, her slightly bent legs, and that pitiful appearance. Yi Chenfeng felt an inexplicable sense of pity. Ah, forget it. If you don't want to go, then don't go. I won't force you. Although Heaven Planner had originally schemed against him in every possible way, and he had developed a strong interest in the rules of space, at this moment, he suddenly couldn't bear to hurt Heaven Planner, who hid many secrets in her heart. He gently pulled up the bedsheet at the side, covering her body that was enough to drive men crazy. No, I lied to you. I broke my oath. I deserve to be punished. In Heaven Planner's view, the damage was far less than the damage to her heart, and Yi Chenfeng's eyes revealed a trace of pity, which made her heart tremble. Suddenly, Heaven Planner threw herself into Yi Chenfeng's arms, her hands wrapped around his waist. The two people's bodies were tightly and seamlessly stuck together. Her pair of jade peaks that had never been touched by anyone were directly squeezed out of shape. Heaven Planner, don't mess around. Without the obstruction of clothes, Yi Chenfeng could clearly feel her perky breasts, the faster and faster heartbeat, and the rising body temperature. This kind of intimate contact made Yi Chenfeng instinctively want to push her away. Feng Chun, didn't you want to just now? Why are you scared now? Heaven Planner slightly raised her head, using her eyes that had just recovered a trace of spirit to look at Yi Chenfeng, and poured out her beautiful words. All right, Heaven Planner, calm down a bit. Don't do something you regret. Yi Chenfeng tightly grabbed Heaven Planner's white and smooth shoulders and said, My heart is already dead. What else can make me regret? Heaven Planner revealed a bitter smile and said hollowly, Heaven Planner, you're not the kind of person who can't take a blow, right? Without Master, you still have family. Could it be that Master is more important than your family? Yi Chenfeng looked at Heaven Planner, whose heart was like dead ashes, sighed softly in his heart, and persuaded her. And this result was something he had never thought of in the beginning. Even in his dreams, he would never have thought that he would persuade Heaven Planner, who made his teeth itch. I have no family. Master is my only family in this world. Without Master, I have nothing. Heaven Planner looked into Yi Chenfeng's eyes and said in a calm voice, No family. Hearing Heaven Planner's words, Yi Chenfeng finally understood why she would rather be hurt by him than go. She saw Heaven Planner as her master and family. She did not want to meet him on the battlefield, so she chose to escape. Heaven Planner, you have to know that you live for yourself, not for others, and it is not necessarily a bad thing that your master left an imprint in your soul. Maybe we all guessed wrong about your master's intentions. Yi Chenfeng looked at the pitiful Heaven Planner and continued to persuade her. Feng Chun, I didn't expect you to be a good person. Hearing Yi Chenfeng's lie for her, Heaven Planner suddenly smiled, like 100 flowers blooming, very beautiful. Feng Chun, I think you are a good person. Why don't you let me be your woman? Don't mess around. Yi Chenfeng was a bit speechless. Feng Chun, I am serious. Heaven Planner looked straight into Yi Chenfeng's eyes and said, You can't understand the importance of family to me. Only family can let my dead heart have a trace of warmth. Let me have the courage to continue to live. Feng Chun, take me. Let me be your woman. Use your body temperature to warm my cold heart. Let me know that I am still alive. With that, Heaven Planner suddenly stretched out her soft arms, like two snakes wrapping around Yi Chenfeng's neck, and was about to kiss his mouth, using the most fatal method to seduce Yi Chenfeng. Heaven Planner, don't provoke me. Yi Chenfeng dodged Heaven Planner's tender and alluring mouth, grabbed her delicate shoulders, and shouted loudly, Feng Chun, you dislike me, dislike my background, dislike me for being a disdainful thief, not worthy of a great genius like you. Heaven Planner looked at Yi Chenfeng, who rejected her again and again. Her face turned ashen, tightly biting her lips, and said sorrowfully, Heaven Planner, in fact, my background is similar to yours. I was raised by my adoptive father. Since I was young, I don't know who my biological parents are, why they abandoned me. Yi Chenfeng looked at Heaven Planner with pity, lightly sighed, and said, Really, you didn't lie to me, Heaven Planner said doubtfully. In her opinion, with Yi Chenfeng's strength and methods, only the most profound forces in the central continent could cultivate such a peerless monster like him. What good would it do me to lie to you? Yi Chunfeng looked at Heaven Planner's doubtful eyes and said, Everything I have is fought for with my own hands, with my own efforts. Snatched, I want to stand at the top of the world one day and personally uncover the mystery of my background. Feeling Yi Chunfeng's domineering aura, looking at the confidence on his face, Heaven Planner was deeply attracted for a moment. Heaven Planner, do you want to take revenge? There were two ways to make Heaven Planner's dead heart come back to life. One was to give her warmth. The other was to take revenge. Take revenge? Sure enough, hearing Yi Chunfeng's words, Heaven Planner's empty eyes revealed rays of light. Heaven Planner, if you really have no place to go, then follow me from now on. I will do my best to take revenge for you. Although Yi Chunfeng and Heaven Planner had a lot of unhappiness, Heaven Planner's potential and methods made Yi Chunfeng have a heart of love for talent. He believed that once Heaven Planner grew up, he would definitely become his right-hand man. Feng Chun, do you know who my enemy is? Heaven Planner bit her lips and said, Is it 9 Heaven's divine nation? Through the exchange just now, Yi Chunfeng had already guessed Heaven Planner's enemy. To be precise, it's 9 Heaven's divine nation's divine emperor. Are you afraid? Heaven Planner looked into Yi Chunfeng's eyes and said, So what if it's the divine emperor? If you follow me, I will help you destroy that divine emperor and break the foundation of 9 Heaven's divine nation's inheritance. Yi Chunfeng said overbearingly. Really, Heaven Planner's heart trembled and asked somewhat excitedly, You lied to me. I won't lie to you. Yi Chunfeng smiled and promised. All right, if you can take revenge for me, my Du Qian's life is yours. Heaven Planner bit her pink lips, made up her mind, and said solemnly, Mobile reading home, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you can see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 11-13. Navel. I'll call you Plucker from now on. Looking at Plucker's stubborn and beautiful face, Yi Chunfeng revealed a gentle smile and said softly, Feng Chun, I'll let it go this time, but if you laugh at my name again, I won't forgive you. Plucker glared at Yi Chunfeng and angrily warned. Good. Yi Chunfeng agreed with a smile. Okay, quickly put on your clothes. Let's get out of here. At this time, Plucker was too tempting. She appeared naked in front of Yi Chunfeng, making Yi Chunfeng somewhat unable to bear it. No, I want to hug you for a while, just a while. Plucker shook her head and hugged Yi Chunfeng tightly again, using his body temperature to warm her cold heart. Fengshen, I want to ask you something. After hugging each other tightly for a while, Plucker stabilized her mood, raised her head, recovered her mischievous look, and asked softly, What's the matter? Yi Chunfeng asked, Are you a man or not? I, such a beautiful woman, am offering myself to you, but you're actually indifferent. I really suspect that there's something wrong with your sexual orientation. Plucker said slyly, Why don't we give it a try? I heard that the feeling is very good. It makes people feel as if they're floating in the air and live like a celestial being. Plucker's eyes revealed a trace of blurred color. She stuck her seductive red lips to Yi Chunfeng's ear, blew a mouthful of hot air, and said somewhat teasingly, Do you really want to give it a try? Yi Chunfeng was also a normal man. He had been suppressing the fire in his heart. Now that he was teased by Plucker, the fire in his heart slowly rose up, showing signs of losing control. I want to give it a try. Plucker nodded, revealing a trace of bashfulness, and said, Let's see if it's as comfortable as the rumors say. With that, Heaven Plucker opened his red lips slightly and bit Yi Chunfeng's earlobe. Instantly, electric currents flowed through Yi Chunfeng's body, instantly igniting Yi Chunfeng. Just as Yi Chunfeng could no longer restrain himself and was about to push the Heaven Pilfering bead onto the bed, the Heaven Pilfering bead revealed a crafty expression. Like a nimble little fish, it slipped away from Yi Chunfeng's body. With a flash, a skin-tight inner armor of extraordinary quality appeared on her body and wrapped around her curvaceous body. He. I knew it. For a woman as beautiful as me, even a male fly would not be able to resist the temptation. let alone a man. Looking at Yi Chun-feng, who was lying on the bed with black lines on his forehead, Planner of the Heavens revealed a sinister smile and said, "Feng Chun, your performance just now was very good. It proves that you are still a normal man." "I knew it would be like this," Yi Chun-feng said bitterly. "Feng Chun, do you really want me now? If you agree to marry me, I will obey you." Planner of the Heavens looked at Yi Chun-feng, who was trying hard to suppress the flames in his heart, and revealed a trace of seductive charm. "Okay, stop playing. Let's leave here." Yi Chun-feng took a deep breath and suppressed the flames in his heart. He no longer entangled with her to avoid being tricked again. "No, I changed my mind. I won't be with you for now." Planner of the Heavens shook her head and said, "Where are you going?" Yi Chun-feng slightly frowned and asked in a low voice. I won't tell you." Planner of the Heavens let out a series of crisp laughter and said, "But don't worry before I get my revenge. I will be fine. Moreover, I still want to do something with you. I will definitely live well. Wait, this is for you. If there's an accident, just crush it and I will be the first to know." Yi Chun-feng gave the soul-sensing bead that he refined earlier to Planner of the Heavens. He originally wanted to tell Planner of the Heavens to be careful of her master, but he swallowed the words back. "I am leaving. I hope that when I see you again, you can take the initiative and be more manly. That way, I might obey you." After that, Planner of the Heavens, who had just expelled the poison in her body, left behind a beautiful shadow. She used the space precepts and escaped into a special path, disappearing from the restriction room. The space precepts were really magical. Seeing Planner of the Heavens easily pass through the 3 restrictions in the room and leave, Yi Chun-feng suddenly thought of the space-swallowing bug and entered the universe realm. Space-swallowing bug. Let me ask you, do you have the space precepts inheritance in your soul? Yi Chun-feng found the space-swallowing bug that was slowly evolving into a level 9 heavenly beast after devouring a large amount of heavenly beast essence blood. "Master, how do you know about the space precepts?" The space-swallowing bug asked in its mind. "I just met someone outside who knows about the space precepts and became interested in this powerful precepts." Yi Chun-feng said, "The space precepts are the highest level inheritance of my space-swallowing bug clan, and also the biggest secret of my clan's survival. However, the space precepts are too mysterious and my level is too low. In my soul's memory, there is no inheritance of the space precepts, only some information about the space precepts." The space-swallowing bug said truthfully, "Tell me what you know about the space precepts." Yi Chun-feng asked with interest. The space precepts and the time precepts were known as the 2 most mysterious precepts in the universe. The space precepts were divided into 9 realms, namely space orbit, space partition, space fold, space dimension, space storm, space mustard seed, space black hole, space destruction, and space creation. The space-swallowing bug said, "Space destruction, space creation." After knowing that the space precepts had 9 realms, Yi Chun-feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. Especially the last 2 realms of the space precepts, he was even more shocked. Space destruction and space creation. What kind of great achievements and means were these? He couldn't imagine how magnificent it would be to destroy and create a space with a wave of the hand. All right, space-swallowing bug, you can slowly transform and try to break through to the level 9 heavenly beast realm. If there is any inheritance of the space precepts in your soul, remember to tell me." Yi Chun-feng reminded it and gave it a few more heavenly beast hearts before leaving. "Young master, did you have fun last night?" When it was close to noon, Yi Chun-feng removed the restriction in the room and pushed the door open to leave. At this moment, the lady in the red dress who had been waiting outside for a long time came out and said with an ambiguous smile, "Not bad. This is your reward." Yi Chun-feng threw an expensive luminous pearl to the lady in the red dress and left the bamboo shadow emerald house under her escort. Pluck the heavens. Yi Chun-feng looked back at the bamboo shadow emerald house and revealed a thought-provoking expression. Even in his dreams, he would never have thought that he and Heaven Plucker would have such an ending. However, in his subconscious, he still admired Heaven Plucker. Heaven Plucker's tragic life experience made him feel a trace of pity. He really wanted to take Heaven Plucker as his right-hand man. After leaving the bamboo city, Yi Qinfeng didn't waste any more time. He summoned his Pegasus and flew across the vast territory of the Nine Heavens Divine Nation towards the Wangtian capital. After nearly 12 days of rushing, Yi Qinfeng finally arrived at the Wangtian capital on his Pegasus. 1.5 months had passed, and there was only 1.5 months left until the Sky Palace tournament. This week's photo of Jiao Yuyan will be released. If you want to see it, please add WeChat public number, YLTY83. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1114. Fengchun, you're finally back. When the travel-worn Yi Qinfeng returned to the Wangtian City Lord Mansion, Wangtian Marquis, Mu Qinghua, and Jiao Yuyan immediately came to the main hall. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. How was it? Fengchun, did the trip go smoothly? Wangtian Marquis looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was drinking tea in the main hall, and asked with a faint smile. Very smoothly. Yi Qinfeng put down the teacup and took out the square box containing Bujia's head from the Qinquan realm. Handing it over to Wangtian Marquis, he said, "Marquis, this is Bujia's head. I wonder how much his head is worth." You really killed Bujia." Wangtian Marquis raised his eyebrows, looked at Yi Qinfeng as if he was looking at a monster, and said in disbelief. Although Bujia had just entered the Nirvana realm, and there was still a gap between their strength, Bujia had many escape methods. There was once a Nirvana master who chased after him, but he still escaped in the end. But when Wangtian Marquis opened the box and saw Bujia's head bleeding from all 7 orifices, he was sure that this head was indeed Bujia's. How'd you do it?" Wangtian Marquis looked deeply at Yi Qinfeng and wanted to see through him. "I took advantage of Bujia's carelessness and used some methods to kill him," Yi Qinfeng explained indifferently. "Fengchun, you gave me another surprise. If outsiders knew that Bujia died in your hands, it would probably cause a huge uproar." Wangtian Marquis looked at the calm Yi Qinfeng, who was hiding a big secret, and revealed a graceful smile, and said, "Marquis, please keep the matter of me killing Bujia a secret. I don't want to attract too much attention," Yi Qinfeng said. "Good, leave it to me." Wangtian Marquis happily agreed. "This Bujia is a wanted criminal of the Nine Heavens Divine Nation. The bounty is very high. I guarantee you'll be satisfied." Marquis, after receiving the bounty, convert it all to Tinga points, and then we will split half. For this Heavenly Palace competition, I think Wangtian Pavilion's points are almost used up. Wangtian Marquis was very good to Yi Qinfeng, so he also wanted to repay him, and said generously, "Very well, then I'll take advantage of you." The sky-gazing Marquis smiled faintly. The more he looked at Yi Qinfeng, the more satisfied he felt. "Fengchun, there is still more than a month until the Heavenly Hall's martial competition. You and Yenner should prepare well. Whether or not my sky-gazing pavilion can advance will all depend on your performance in the Heavenly Hall's martial competition. Master Ho, Elder Ge, do you know if there will be any Saint Masters participating in the Heavenly Pavilion martial arts competition?" Yi Qinfeng's goal was to enter the top 3 in the Heavenly Pavilion martial arts competition. He would like to know in advance how many of his main opponents would be. Sage Master was the title given to the most accomplished artifact pill masters in the Central World. Only those who had mastered the art of pill refinement and artifact refinement to perfection and could refine quasi-sacred pills and quasi-sacred artifacts could be called Sage Masters. The Sage Master status was extremely high in the Central World, and his influence was even more astonishing. Some people would rather provoke a Nirvana Realm old monster than a Sage Master. Because of the Sage Master's influence, many Nirvana Realm old monsters were willing to serve him. According to my understanding, my 9 Heavens Divine Nation, Octahead Divine Nation, Chelan Divine Nation, Sacred Fire Valley, and Vast Heaven Palace will each send a Sacred Master to participate in the competition. As for whether there will be any other Sacred Masters from other powers participating, I don't know. However, The final victor of every Sky Hall competition will definitely be one of them. Mu Qinghua continued. Elder Ge, I wonder how many Sage Masters there are in the Central World. Knowing that there would be at least 5 Sage Masters participating, Yi Chunfeng felt a trace of pressure. It was extremely difficult to defeat an old monster who had studied pill refinement and artifact refinement for tens of thousands of years. I don't know how many Sage Masters there are in the Central World, but I do know that my 9 Heavens Divine Nation has 2 Sage Masters. Among them, the Nirvana Sage Master is known as the Saint of Pills. Elder Gu explained in detail. Pill lightning Yi Chunfeng's brows rose slightly, revealing a trace of shock. The appearance of the pill lightning was enough to prove that the Nirvana Sage Master's quasi-sage pills were close to the level of heavenly domain pills, exceeding the limits of the Duhun continent. That was why the pill lightning was able to destroy it. It seems that if I want to win in the Heavenly Hall, I need to raise my soul and flame to a higher level. Yi Chunfeng sighed softly in his heart, feeling heavy pressure. Feng Chun, you must be tired. Go back and rest well. If you need anything, we will do our best to help you improve your pill refinement. Wang Tian Marquis looked at Yi Chunfeng, who seemed to be deep in thought, and said softly, Thank you, Marquis. I will go back and rest first. Yi Chunfeng nodded. He glanced at Jiao Yuyin, whose face was bright and beautiful, then stood up and left. When he returned to his room, bathed and changed his clothes, and sat cross-legged on the bed to regulate his breathing, a light knock sounded from the door. Hearing the knock, Yi Chunfeng opened his eyes and revealed a faint smile. He welcomed Jiao Yuyin, who was wearing a white floral dress and looking like a fairy from a painting, into the room. Yuyin, how much did your pill refinement improve in the month that I wasn't here? Yi Chunfeng looked at the beautiful Jiao Yuyin and asked softly, Master helped me exchange for a mid-grade Dao treasure cauldron a few days ago. With this cauldron and the pill refinement technique you taught me, my success rate of refining low-grade Dao pills is almost 100%. My success rate of refining mid-grade Dao pills is also more than 50%. Thinking of her rapid improvement in pill refinement technique, Jiao Yun couldn't help but reveal a charming smile. Not bad, not bad. If your soul improves further and you subdue a heavenly flame from the ninefold fire cave, you will definitely be able to refine a top-grade Dao pill in the Heavenly Halls competition and enter the top 50. Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly, feeling happy for her from the bottom of his heart. Top-grade Dao pill, top 50 in the Heavenly Halls competition. In the past, refining a top-grade Dao pill was something that Jiao Yuyin didn't even dare to imagine. But now, she had the opportunity to refine a Dao pill of this level, and even had the opportunity to amaze the world in the Heavenly Halls competition. This made her very grateful to Yi Chunfeng. Fengshen, are you tired? If not, let's continue cultivating the immortal soul technique. Jiao Yun blushed and looked at Yi Chunfeng and said coquettishly, In the month that you weren't here, my speed of cultivating the immortal soul technique slowed down a lot. Okay, I also want to cultivate the immortal soul technique to sharpen my soul. As he spoke, Yi Chunfeng took the initiative to hold Jiao Yuyin's soft and delicate hand. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, he cleared away all distracting thoughts and opened his heart to cultivate the immortal soul technique. Because the two had already reached a tacit understanding, the two quickly entered into a state of cultivation. Their heavenly soul power and life power continued to merge, and their souls were also closely connected. Using the soul millstone in the soul sea, they sharpened their souls. Time passed day by day. As usual, Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yin cultivated the immortal soul technique in the morning and practiced their alchemy skills in the afternoon. At night, Yi Chunfeng cultivated his alchemy skills alone in his room. Under their continuous cultivation, their souls became stronger and stronger, and their alchemy skills became more and more profound. Jiao Yin's success rate of refining mid-grade Dao pills had already exceeded 90%. With Yi Chunfeng's help, she began to try to refine high-grade Dao pills. After continuously cultivating the immortal soul technique for nearly 20 days, Jiao Yuyin, who had the heavenly soul body, was the first to cultivate the immortal soul technique to the first level. Her soul transformed, and she reached the shocking level of a 2-star Dao Saint. 3 days later, Yi Chunfeng also cultivated the immortal soul technique to the first level. Under the sharpening of the soul millstone, his soul completed a qualitative change. The immortal soul technique is indeed powerful. Cultivating it to the first level allowed my soul to reach the level of a 2-star Dao Saint. If I cultivate it to the second level, I wonder how powerful my soul will become. Feeling that his soul had reached the level of a 2-star Dao Saint, Yi Chunfeng revealed a trace of excitement. He felt that with his current soul realm, he had the ability to refine Dao pills. With the addition of the Life Spirit Pearl, he could very well refine quasi-sage pills. However, using the Life Spirit Pearl to refine quasi-sage pills was not enough to attract pill lightning. Thus, he was still far from being able to defeat those sage masters who had studied alchemy for tens of thousands of years. It seemed that he could only place his hopes on the 9-layered Inferno Cave. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and felt a trace of anticipation towards the 9-layered Inferno Cave. Mobile reading website. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 11:15. Time passed day by day. In less than a month's time, Yi Chunfeng and Zhao Yuyin hid in their room during the day and continued to cultivate the undying soul art. At night, he spent all of his energy on exploring the Saint Artifact's artifact pattern. As his soul transformed, Yi Chunfeng could fully comprehend the Saint Artifact runes with the help of the God Devourer brain. If he could comprehend the Saint Artifact runes' secrets, he might be able to shock the world in the upcoming Sky Hall competition. Feng Chun, there are still 15 days before the Sky Hall competition. Let's set off early. Half a month later, the Wangtian Marquis came to look for Yi Chunfeng. Good. The biggest problem of raising his soul to the 2nd-star Dao Saint realm was solved. What Yi Chunfeng lacked now was battle experience and proficiency. Currently, the only thing that could increase his results in a short period of time was the flames in the 9-fold Inferno Caverns. Let's go to Fire God City. The Wangtian Marquis summoned a precious spirit boat and brought Yi Chunfeng, Zhao Yuyin, Mu Qinghua, Master Du, and the rest out of the Wangtian City. They crossed a vast area and flew toward one of the most famous cities in the Central World, the Fire God City. The Fire God City was located at the intersection of the 3 divine nations and occupied the source of 3 enormous spirit veins in the Central World. Even the 3 divine nations were envious of such a place. Legend had it that in ancient times, the 3 divine nations had once wanted to occupy the Fire God City. However, the Sky Hall used some unknown method to intimidate the 3 divine nations and protect the Fire God City. Since then, the 3 divine nations had given up on the idea of occupying the Fire God City. As time passed, the Sky Hall's influence grew bigger and bigger, producing a large number of geniuses. In addition, they controlled a large amount of cultivation resources and had a large number of alchemists and blacksmiths. In the end, the Sky Hall developed into a transcendent force. Here we are. The Fire God City is right in front of us. The Wangtian Marquis steered the spirit boat and flew above the 9 heavens for 4 days, crossing the boundless territory and entering the Fire God City's territory. A giant city that looked like a blazing sun that had fallen into the mortal world appeared before everyone's eyes. Standing on the spirit boat and looking at the distant Fire God City, Yi Chunfeng felt nothing but shock. The vast heavenly capital was already the biggest city Yi Chunfeng had ever seen. However, compared to the Fire God City, the vast heavenly capital was not even a third of the Fire God City. The entire Fire God City was like a country. There were endless mountains in the city, and lakes and islands dotted the city like stars in the sky. Ancient palaces were modeled with traces of time. They were located in the Fire God City, filling this ancient city with a mysterious color. Flying is forbidden around Fire God City. Let's go on foot. Wang Tian Marquis controlled the spirit ship to descend outside of Fire God City. Following a straight road, he walked towards the Fire God City that gave off an extremely strong visual impact. Great formation. What a powerful formation. Following the bustling crowd, the instant they entered the Fire God City, Yi Chenfeng's eyes narrowed as he looked at the void. Although the naked eye couldn't see it, the sharp God-Eater brain could sense that the entire Fire God City was enveloped by an ancient great formation. The strength of this great formation surpassed Yi Chenfeng's imagination. He had a feeling that if this great formation was fully activated, it might be able to exterminate a Nirvana heavenly realm expert. Let's go. We'll find a place to rest first. Every morning, I'll bring the two of you to the ninefold fire cave. Although the Wang Tian Marquis was a noble of the Nine Heavens Divine Nation and a Nirvana expert, the Fire God City did not belong to the Nine Heavens Divine Nation. There were crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the city. The Wang Tian Marquis was very low-key as he brought Yi Chenfeng and the rest to the east of the city, a place where the experts of the Nine Heavens Divine Nation liked to gather. There were simply too many experts in the central continent. In the outer continents, combat beast emperors were unrivaled existences. If a sect had a combat beast emperor overseeing it, it could be called a holy land. However, in the Fire God City, there were emperor-level experts everywhere. On the contrary, in the Mystic Beast sect, it was extremely rare to see a reverse Beast King expert. Among them, in some pavilions and palaces, one could even see Nirvana realm old monsters who had lived for God knows how many years. This made Yi Chenfeng sigh in admiration of the central world strength. Sigh, after the Sky Hall's competition ends, I need to go into seclusion for a period of time to break through to the 5th grade combat Beast Emperor realm. Otherwise, with my strength, it would be dangerous to roam the central continent. Although Yi Chenfeng had relied on his own strength to kill Nirvana's Bugia, Bugia was only an early-stage Nirvana expert and a row cultivator. Whether it was strength or foundation, he couldn't compare to the Nirvana realm experts of the 3 Divine Nations secluded sections. The Clear Breeze Inn, I stayed here the last time I was here. The environment inside is pretty good. It's very elegant. Let's stay here for the next few days. With great familiarity, the Wang Tian Marquis led Yi Chenfeng's group through several ancient and unique streets. After walking for more than 4 hours, they arrived at an elegant inn in the eastern part of the city. It was next to a forest by the shore. My apologies. My Clear Breeze Inn has been booked by the Nine Heavens Divine Nation. Outsiders are not allowed to stay. Please forgive us. Just as Yi Chenfeng's group entered the Clear Breeze Inn, a white-haired old man wearing a white robe walked out and said apologetically, "I am the Wang Tian Marquis of the Nine Heavens Divine Nation's Wang Tian capital. May I know if I can stay here?" The Wang Tian Marquis took out a purple gold token, revealing his identity, and said arrogantly, "Wang Tian Marquis, what great prestige." Suddenly, a sarcastic voice sounded behind Yi Chenfeng's group. A middle-aged man wearing a purple gold robe embroidered with a flood dragon pattern, cloud-rushing boots, a golden crown, and a small mustache appeared with a group of people. The moment this purple gold-robed man appeared, the faces of Wang Tian Marquis, Jiao Yuyan, and the others changed at the same time. Especially Wang Tian Marquis. His eyes revealed a fierce, murderous intent. From the changes in the expressions of Wang Tian Marquis and the others, Yi Chenfeng guessed that this person should be Wang Tian Marquis' archenemy, Yong Tianho, who had sent people to kill Jiao Yuyan and Mu Qinghua. "Yong Tianho, don't be too proud. Sooner or later, I will avenge her." Wang Tian Marquis glared at him and said coldly, "Haha, threatening me?" Yong Tianho revealed a sinister smile and said, "Wang Tian Marquis, you should think more about yourself. A woman as beautiful as you, with such taste, it would be a pity if you died. Yong Tianho, you despicable villain, if you dare to hurt my mother, I will never let you go." Jiao Yin glared at her archenemy and said angrily, "Yo-yo, another Yong Tianho who threatened me." Revealing a disdainful smile, he said, "Little girl, do you know the consequences of threatening me? But seeing that you look pretty, if you and your mother are willing to warm my bed, I can consider giving you a way out. You. Jiao Yin's little face turned red, and her whole body trembled. Yong Tianho, let's wait and see. I want to see who will have the last laugh. Wan Tian Marquis glared at Yong Tianho, who was deliberately provoking him. Thinking of the people behind him, he suppressed the killing intent in his heart and said coldly, "Arrange a few quiet rooms for me. Don't let some boring people disturb me." Yong Tianho coldly snorted and said without any trace of politeness, "You." Just as the two sides were at daggers drawn, and neither side was willing to back down, Yi Chunfeng quietly slipped out. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 11:16. To esteemed guests, please calm down and don't get angry. Looking at Wang Tian Marquis and Yong Tianho, who were at daggers drawn, the white-robed old man's heart trembled, and he hurriedly tried to mediate between them. He was afraid that the two of them would fight in his store and cause immeasurable losses to his inn. Watermark advertisement test, watermark advertisement test. If you want to not be angry, then tell them to scram as far away as possible. Yong Tianho raised his head slightly and looked at the gloomy Wan Tian Marquis, who was faintly unable to control the killing intent in his heart. Lord Marquis, please don't be angry. I feel like he is deliberately provoking Lord Marquis to make you attack. Lord Marquis, please don't fall for it. Feeling the killing intent from Wan Tian Marquis growing stronger and stronger, Mu Qinghua walked behind Wan Tian Marquis and glanced gravely at the fearless Yong Tianho, who wanted to make a big deal out of this. Bitch, aren't you usually very arrogant and arrogant? You're still far from being able to fight with me. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and scram. Don't be an eyesore here. Yong Tianho looked at the trembling Wan Tian Marquis and revealed a cold smile as he wantonly insulted and provoked her. Father, I think they don't want to leave because they want to warm the bed for us, father and son. Why don't we do them a favor and help them? Standing behind Yong Tianho was a tall young man in a black robe embroidered with golden threads. His appearance was somewhat similar to Yong Tianho's, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. He looked at Jiao Yuyin, who was as elegant and beautiful as an otherworldly lotus flower. The man who stood out to provoke was Yong Tianho's son, Xiao Tianyin. At such a young age, he had cultivated to the third-grade combat Beast Emperor realm and was a 4-star alchemist who could refine low-grade Dao pills. Yong Tianho had placed high hopes on him and wanted to amaze the world in this Sky Hall competition and help his Yong Tianho Pavilion become a 5-star pavilion. Courting death, when Wan Tian Marquis saw that a junior dared to provoke him, he could no longer control the anger in his heart. The killing intent emanating from his body instantly condensed and turned into an extremely sharp sword of light. With a piercing sound, it slashed toward Xiao Tianyin, whose expression had changed slightly. Wan Tian Marquis, you still attacked. Yong Tianho's eyes narrowed, and he instantly blocked in front of Xiao Tianyin. With a wave of his arm, ripples of Dao surged out and shattered the sword of light that the sky-gazing Marquis had released. Heavenly Marquis Yong, you've gone too far, roared the Wang Tian Marquis, unable to control his anger. Since you want my son's life, then don't blame me for being impolite. As he spoke, a terrifying beast shadow emerged from Yong Tianho's body. His strength also rose steadily at this moment. The terrifying aura pressured Mu Qinghua, Jiao Yuyin, and the others to the point where they couldn't breathe. It's so busy. Right when Yong Tianho was about to make a move and the battle was about to erupt, an icy cold voice resounded out. The Marquis of Qianming, who wore a dark red python robe, had a tall figure, and walked with an imposing manner, had appeared, and he forcefully interrupted the conflict between the two of them. Marquis Qianming, looking at the person who suddenly appeared, Yong Tianho frowned. He didn't think that the Marquis of the Kirin Kingdom would appear at this critical moment. What are you doing here? Yong Tianho looked at the Marquis of Qianming, who slowly walked in with hostility and said coldly, "What? Does this place belong to your Nine Heavens God Kingdom? You can come, but I can't? The Marquis of Qianming sneered and said rudely. Marquis of Qianming, I advise you not to provoke my nine heavens god kingdom. You can't bear the consequences if things get out of hand. For some reason, Yong Tianho felt that the Marquis of Qianming was deliberately targeting him, so he had to use the nine heavens god kingdom to pressure him. Ha ha, threatening me? The Marquis of Qianming laughed loudly and said arrogantly, I'm not afraid of threats. Also, why don't you take a look at yourself? How dare you represent the nine heavens god kingdom? Damn it, did you take the wrong medicine? Yong Tianho didn't think that the Kirin Kingdom's Marquis of Qianming would not give him face and mock him in front of his biggest enemy. He was so angry that his body trembled. Yo, you dare to curse me? The Marquis of Qianming glared, walked up to Yong Tianho, and raised his right palm. Marquis of Qianming, stop pretending. If you provoke me again, don't blame me for suing you. Looking at the Marquis of Qianming's raised right palm, Yong Tianho was not afraid at all. Now that masters from various forces had gathered in the Fire God City, if any side provoked and worsened the situation, there would be terrible consequences. Therefore, Yong Tianho didn't believe that the Marquis of Qianming would dare to hit him. Pa! As soon as Yong Tianho finished speaking, an illusion appeared before his eyes. The Marquis of Qianming suddenly attacked. His right hand, which had the thunder Dao diagram circling around it, viciously slapped Yong Tianho's face. The terrifying Dao diagram power directly broke through his defense and slapped him flying. Puff! Yong Tianho felt that his face was shattered by the Marquis of Qianming's slap, leaving behind a cloud of thick blood mist in the air. He directly flew out of the inn and landed heavily outside. In the next moment, the Marquis of Qianming attacked again. Bolts of purple lightning as thick as water buckets spewed out of his body. With a deafening sound of thunder, they struck Xiao Tianyin and the others, whose expressions changed greatly. They spat out mouthfuls of blood and howled in pain as they scrambled out of the inn. Marquis of Qianming, I'm not done with you. Yong Tianho, whose face was shattered and blood spurted out of his mouth, crawled up from the ground. When he saw his son and followers being attacked by the Marquis of Qianming, his lungs were about to explode. He summoned a high-grade Dao artifact, the True Fire Sword, and stabbed forward. Sword Dao diagram Yong Tianho attacked furiously. The Marquis of Qianming immediately condensed the Sword Dao diagram and used the Azulite dual swords to block the attack. They began to fight fiercely outside the inn. This Marquis of Qianming has enmity with Yong Tianho. The Marquis of Wangtian and the others looked at each other in disbelief. If there wasn't a deep hatred, the Marquis of Qianming definitely wouldn't take such a big risk to attack Yong Tianho at this juncture. However, his actions had solved the Marquis of Wangtian's problem. Yong Tianho and the Marquis of Qianming's strength. But because of his carelessness, Yong Tianho's face was shattered by the Marquis of Qianming's palm. He was heavily injured, which greatly affected his combat strength. The two of them fought fiercely outside the inn for half an hour. Yong Tianho, whose mouth was bleeding more and more, gradually couldn't withstand the Marquis of Qianming's attacks and was forced to retreat. Azure Tiger Banner's attack was suppressed, and this made Yong Tianho feel extremely humiliated. He had no choice but to summon the ancient Dao treasure, the green tiger flag, and pour a large amount of soul power into it. He quickly shook it and condensed a green tiger that was condensed from a natural Dao pattern. It carried a terrifying tiger might as it roared and pounced at the Marquis of Qianming. Demon Snake Seal, Beast Head, Ancient Seal when Yong Tianho attacked with the Azure Tiger Banner. The Marquis of Qianming immediately used the two Gu Dao treasures to suppress it. Under the control of the Marquis of Qianming's soul power and Dao intent, the two ancient seals constantly grew larger and exploded with unimaginable power. They were like two meteors that had fallen to the mortal world. They viciously smashed into the Dao pattern Azure Tiger, and the terrifying power directly shattered it. Two Gu Dao treasures Yong Tianho didn't expect the Marquis of Qianming's foundation to be so deep. His expression changed slightly, and he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood fused into the Azure Tiger banner and increased the might of the Azure Tiger banner to the greatest extent. He continued to shake it and condensed 2 Dao pattern Azure Tigers to counter the attack. Yong Tianho, use whatever means you have. Otherwise, don't blame me for crushing you. The Marquis of Qianming roared and used all his strength to control the 2 Gu Dao treasures to attack. The 3 Gu Dao treasures violently clashed in the void, causing the entire space to constantly rumble. Layers of huge energy waves rolled wantonly in the void, attracting the attention of everyone. Break! The Marquis of Qianming roared, and 2 large red seal characters suddenly appeared from the 2 ancient seals. They viciously imprinted on the 2 Dao pattern Azure Tigers and directly shattered them. In the next moment, the sword Dao diagram floating above the Marquis of Qianming's head quickly condensed and turned into a divine sword that could split the heavens and earth. The sword broke through the void and slashed towards Yong Tianho, who was retreating. Chi! Yong Tianho, who couldn't dodge in time, was sent flying by the divine sword formed from the sword Dao diagram. A huge gap appeared on the battle armor that appeared on his body, and a large amount of blood spurted out. It was over. The Marquis of Qianming's pupils constricted, and he controlled the 2 Gu Dao treasures to crash forward. He wanted to kill Yong Tianho while he was heavily injured. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Collect button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1117. Stop. Suddenly, an angry roar sounded. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test. A man in a golden robe with an extraordinary bearing appeared in the air. His eyes seemed to contain the sun and the moon, and his hair was slightly white. He slapped the 2 ancient seals with his fleshy palms that flickered with Dao light and contained Dao diagrams. Boom! The 2 ancient seals shook violently, and the sound of the air being torn apart sounded. Under the attack of the golden-robed man's palms that contained Dao diagrams, the power of the 2 ancient seals was constantly being torn apart. In the end, the 2 ancient seals controlled by the Marquis of Qianming were forcefully pushed back. The Marquis' chest was bleeding. The severely injured Yong Tianho saw the man in the golden robe appear in time to save him. He let out a sigh of relief and shouted, Marquis, Qianming is too bold. He wantonly provoked a fight between our 2 divine kingdoms and wanted to kill me. Marquis, please help me. King Tu Marquis Qianming took back the 2 ancient seals and looked at the man in the golden robe who gave him a strong sense of oppression. He frowned. Wang Tian Marquis and the others who were watching the fight at the entrance of the inn changed their expressions. Heavenly King Tu was Yong Tianho's backer. Back then, Heavenly King Wang had wanted to use the person Yi Chanfeng had captured to report Yong Tianho's evil deeds and severely punish him. However, Heavenly King Tu had obstructed him in every possible way. In the end, the matter was left unsettled. That was close. If I couldn't help but attack, Yong Tianho would definitely bite back and use King Tu to punish me. At that time, not only would I lose face, but I would also be punished and my power would be weakened. Looking at King Tu, who suddenly appeared, Wang Tian Marquis instantly thought of Yong Tianho's plan and felt grateful. If it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have been able to control his anger and jump into Yong Tianho's trap. Marquis Qianming, how dare you come to my 9 heavens divine kingdom's gathering place and injure a marquis of my 9 heavens divine kingdom? Do you know your crime? Heavenly King Tu rebuked loudly as he glared at the Marquis Qianming with his hands behind his back. I'm not looking for trouble, but Yong Tianho has gone too far. He insulted me in front of everyone and even slandered my Kirin kingdom, saying that my Kirin kingdom's strength is far inferior to your 9 heavens god kingdom. That's why I attacked him. The Marquis of Qianming withdrew the 2 ancient seals and looked at Heavenly King Tu, who was giving off a sense of prestige without being angry. You're slandering me. When did I slander the Kirin kingdom? Yong Tianho's lungs were about to explode from anger. He didn't think that the Marquis of Qianming would turn the tables and slander him. Ignoring the injury on his mouth, he angrily roared. Do you have proof? Heavenly King Tu frowned slightly as he spoke in a deep voice. The crime of slandering the Kirin kingdom was neither too big nor too small. If Yong Tianho had really slandered the Kirin kingdom just now, and the Marquis of Qianming had gotten hold of this, it could very well lead to a series of consequences and troubles. When he slandered the Kirin kingdom, everyone present heard the Marquis of Qianming coldly snort and fearlessly speak. You despicable bastard! How dare you slander me? Yong Tianho glared at the Marquis of Qianming with his blood-red eyes, wanting to strangle him to death. What? Do you want to fight? The Marquis of Qianming coldly glanced at him and disdainfully said, With your strength, you will only humiliate yourself if you fight. If you want to die, I can help you. Puffed. Yong Tianho was so angry that he spat out blood. He was on the verge of collapsing and almost fell to the ground. Okay, shut up. Heavenly King Tu frowned slightly as he looked at the voluptuous Marquis of Wantian standing on the side and said in a low voice, Wantian Marquis, since you are also here, why don't you tell us what happened just now? Yes, Your Highness. Wantian Marquis nodded and simply told the story of what happened. However, when he was telling the story, he intentionally sided with the Marquis of Qianming and named Yong Tianho as the source of the disaster, which made Yong Tianho tremble with anger. I finally understand that you two are in cahoots. Yong Tianho wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and angrily roared. Wantian Marquis, have you already joined the Kirin kingdom? Marquis, did you see that? Yong Tianho bites whoever he sees. He is unreasonable. Wantian Marquis looked at Yong Tianho, whose cheeks had caved in and a deep sword mark on his chest, and said with a cold smile, You. At this moment, Yong Tianho hated the Marquis of Qianming to the core. If it weren't for him, the Marquis of Wantian Marquis would have already jumped into his trap. But now, not only was he humiliated, he was also framed. This made him tremble with anger, and he was so frustrated that he wanted to spit out blood again. Shut up. If you talk nonsense again, don't blame me for imprisoning you. Heavenly King Tu glared at the irrational Yong Tianho and coldly warned him. Meeting Heavenly King Tu's gaze, the angry Yong Tianho could only obediently shut his mouth and swallow his anger. Forget it. Since you, Heavenly King Tu, are here, then I will give you face and forget about today's matter. The Marquis of Qianming magnanimously said and walked out. Before this matter is investigated clearly, you are not allowed to leave. Heavenly King Tu blocked the Marquis of Qianming with his stalwart body and said coldly, What? Heavenly King Tu wants to attack me? The Marquis of Qianming smiled and said fearlessly, I admit that I am not your opponent. But if you want to capture me, I am afraid it will not be that easy. Someone will seek justice for me. What? Are you threatening me? Heavenly King Tu's face darkened. Nirvana's aura spread out from his body. This aura was so strong that it made the Marquis of Qianming's body tremble. I don't dare to threaten you. I'm just stating the consequences of this matter. The Marquis of Qianming took a deep breath and endured the terrifying aura released by Heavenly King Tuesday. Heavenly King Tu sneered, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. You're just a little Marquis. How do you talk to me about consequences? After confirming that the Marquis of Qianming had no evidence and that everyone present was from the Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom, Heavenly King Tu was completely relieved. He wanted to teach the Marquis of Qianming an unforgettable lesson and show the power of the Nine Heavens Divine Kingdom. As he spoke, Heavenly King Tu reached out with his hand. A large amount of Tao patterns like dragons and snakes quickly gathered and formed a giant hand that covered the sky. With a suffocating pressure, it pressed towards the Marquis of Qianming, trying to suppress him. Demon Snake Seal, Beast Head Ancient Seal Block. Feeling the terrifying destructive power of Heavenly King Tu's giant hand, the Marquis of Qianming's expression changed slightly. He immediately used 2 Gu treasures to block it. The moment the giant hand made contact with the 2 ancient seals, it immediately exploded with a power that changed the color of heaven and earth. The terrifying power shook the extremely tough void and twisted it. Puff, puff. The difference in strength between a Nirvana realm martial artist and a Nirvana realm martial artist was like the heavens and the earth, bearing the impact of the counterforce that surged down with an overwhelming force. The Marquis of Qianming's body trembled as he took 3 steps back and spat out a mouthful of blood. Heavenly King 2, does your 9 heavens divine kingdom want to start a war with my Kirin kingdom? The Marquis of Qianming didn't expect Heavenly King 2 to be so terrifying. The 2 Gu Dao treasures that he controlled couldn't block his Dao intent giant hand. Ignorant brat, you provoke me first and even try to kill the Marquis of my 9 heavens divine kingdom. Today, I want to see who will stand up for you. The Heavenly King, too, was unmoved. He reached out with his hand, and another terrifying hand that blotted out the sky appeared. It was as if a mountain was crushing down. Marquis of Qianming, just you wait. When the Marquis captures you, I have 100 ways to torture you. I want you to know the consequences of provoking me. I want you to regret being born in this world. Heavenly King 2 was severely injured. Heavenly King Yong, who was healing on the side, revealed a ferocious expression. Just as the Marquis of Qianming was about to be suppressed by Heavenly King 2's giant hand, a strange teleportation power suddenly appeared and enveloped the Marquis of Qianming. In the next moment, before the terrifying giant hand landed, the Marquis of Qianming strangely disappeared from where he was. This sudden scene shocked everyone present. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read next time, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1118. Where did the Marquis Qianming go? Seeing the Marquis Qianming disappear, Yong Tianho's eyes widened as if he had seen a ghost. He couldn't believe that the Marquis Qianming could escape from King Tuesday watermark advertisement, test space treasure. Who is it? Come out. The knowledgeable King Tu immediately thought of the reason for the Marquis Qianming's disappearance. A powerful soul force erupted from his soul sea, covering a radius of a few miles and searching for anyone suspicious. However, the universe realm had already been taken into Yi Qinfeng's body. No matter how King Tu searched, he couldn't sense the existence of the universe realm. Uncle Wong, what happened just now? At this time, a woman wearing a green silk dress with an elegant temperament, crescent-shaped brows, starry eyes, and a crystal flower crown slowly walked over and asked in a pleasant voice. She was accompanied by 2 guards of the 9 heavens divine kingdom. She was accompanied by an elegant woman with crescent-shaped eyebrows and starry eyes. Just now, someone from the Kirin kingdom came here to cause trouble and beat up Yong Tianho, King Tu said with a frown. He thought that there would be a Kirin kingdom expert hiding nearby and saving the Marquis Qianming. However, his powerful soul force covered the surroundings, and he couldn't find anyone suspicious, which made him slightly surprised. Could it be that the one who saved the Marquis Qianming was a Nirvana heavenly realm expert? Did someone order him to cause trouble? Many thoughts flashed through King Tu's mind. He felt that the situation was a bit serious. I'm sorry, King. I've lost face for you. Yong Tianho looked at King Tu, who was frowning and whose expression was becoming more and more gloomy. His heart trembled, and he couldn't care about his face anymore. He bowed and apologized. Xiaoping, I already told you not to cause trouble. King Tu looked at the terrified Yong Tianho and coldly lectured. This is not my 9 heavens divine kingdom. Here, everything depends on strength. Without strength, you will only bring shame to yourself. Xiaoping knows his mistake. I won't do it again. Although Yong Tianho was going crazy and wanted to kill someone to vent his anger, in front of King Tu, he didn't dare to be rash. Also, all of you better behave yourselves here. If you provoke someone you can't afford to provoke, no one will save you. Tu Tianwang looked at the 9 Heavens Divine Nations experts who had walked out of the inn and stood respectfully to the side as he reprimanded loudly. After teaching him a lesson, Tu Tianwang, who was deep in thought, left with the noble woman in the green dress. After Heavenly King Tu left, the heavily injured and humiliated Yong Tianho no longer had the face to stay. He angrily glared at the smiling heaven-gazing Marquis before leaving with the heavily injured Xiao Tianyin and the others. Marquis, this is my first time in Fire God City. I want to take a look around. After Yi Qinfeng and the others settled down, Yi Qinfeng went to find Wang Tian Marquis. He wanted to go out and buy some things in case he needed them. Fengchun, we just had a conflict with Yong Tianho. If you go out now, you might be in danger. Wang Tian Marquis said worriedly. Don't worry, Marquis, they can't hurt me. Yi Qinfeng smiled and said confidently. Mother, I also want to go out for a stroll. Can I? At this time, Jiao Yuyin walked out of the room. She looked at Yi Qinfeng and said with a charming face, All right, then you two can go together and take a look around Fire God City. Thinking about how Yi Qinfeng could even kill Bujia, Wang Tian Marquis was slightly relieved. He warned, but Fire God City is different from other places. There are too many experts here. Here, bear with it if you can, and don't cause trouble. Don't worry, Marquis, we will be careful. After that, Yi Qinfeng and Jiao Yuyin left together. Fire God City was too big. Yi Qinfeng was too unfamiliar with this place, and it was also Jiao Yuyin's first time here. The two strolled around while inquiring about famous places. Finally, after asking around for more than 2 hours, Yi Qinfeng saw a 5-meter-tall, luxurious palace in the distance. It was emitting a faint red light. Jinbao Building, let's go in and take a stroll. Looking at the plaque hanging on the gate of the palace and feeling the ancient aura it emitted, Yi Qinfeng and Jiao Yuyin walked in side by side. Because Jiao Yuyin was too beautiful and had an otherworldly temperament, when she walked into the Jinbao Building, she immediately attracted many pairs of burning eyes, making her feel a little unnatural. Yuyin, don't mind them. Just treat them as dogs. Seeing Jiao Yuyin's unnatural expression, Yi Qinfeng smiled and transmitted his voice. Puffed. Jiao Yuyin laughed out loud. Her smile could topple cities, making many people infatuated at this moment. Come, let's go up and take a stroll. The first floor was mixed with good and bad people. Yi Qinfeng didn't stay for long. Following a wooden staircase, he brought Jiao Yuyin to the second floor of the Jinbao Building. Restriction. When they reached the entrance of the second floor, Yi Qinfeng saw a powerful restriction seal on the door. It seemed like without a certain level of strength, it was impossible to enter the second floor of the Jinbao Building. Although the restriction on the second floor of the Jinbao Building was powerful, it didn't affect Yi Qinfeng at all. With a single thought, the Sword Dao diagram appeared on his body and released boundless Sword Dao patterns. He directly tore open the restriction at the entrance and brought Jiao Yuyin into the second floor of the Jinbao Building, which was filled with dense spirit qi and had significantly fewer people. However, Yi Qinfeng didn't stay on this floor. He followed the stairs to the third floor of the Jinbao Building, tore open the restriction, and ascended to the fourth floor. What a powerful restriction! Those who were qualified to enter the fourth floor of the Jinbao Building had to be at least a Class 6 Combat Beast Emperor. Feeling that the restriction on the fourth floor was significantly stronger, Yi Qinfeng didn't want to attract too much attention. He gave up on the idea of going to the fifth floor of the Jinbao Building and prepared to exchange for some useful items here. Young master, young lady, is there anything I can help you with? The two of them stopped for a while on the fourth floor of the treasure tower. A woman with a graceful figure wearing a white lotus root Chong Sam slowly walked over. She had light makeup on and exuded the fragrance of cosmetics. She revealed a charming smile and spoke in a pleasant voice. I want to exchange for some mid-grade heaven crystals. Do you have any? There were too many experts in the Fire God City. In order to deal with any possible danger, Yi Qinfeng prepared to exchange for some mid-grade heaven crystal for the sword puppet in case of an emergency. The middle-grade heaven crystal Chi Pao woman smiled and introduced softly, Mid-grade heaven crystals are extremely rare and valuable. We only exchange for them and don't sell them. Every mid-grade heaven crystal requires at least one mid-grade Dao tool or mid-grade Dao core to exchange. I wonder how many does young master need? Let's have 10 first. Yi Chenfeng pondered for a while and said in a rich and overbearing manner, "Young master, young lady, please follow me." Hearing that Yi Chenfeng wanted to exchange for 10 mid-grade heaven crystals, the Chongsam woman's smile grew wider. She brought them to a quiet and elegant room and personally poured 2 cups of spirit tea for the two of them. "Young master, can you let me appraise young master's exchange items first?" The Chongsam woman asked in a pleasant voice. Her gentle voice made people feel very comfortable. Sure. Yi Chenfeng had killed many Divine Nation experts and obtained a large number of mid-grade Dao tools. He chose 10 useless mid-grade Dao tools and handed them to the Chongsam woman. "Feng Chun, why do you have so many mid-grade Dao tools?" Looking at the high-quality mid-grade Dao tools in front of Yi Chenfeng, Jiao Yin opened her eyes wide and asked in surprise. "Snatched." Yi Chenfeng winked at Jiao Yin and transmitted his voice. "These 10 mid-grade Dao tools are of good quality. My Jinbao building will exchange them with young master." After appraising the 10 mid-grade Dao tools that Yi Chenfeng took out one by one, the Chongsam woman revealed a satisfied smile and said softly, "Young master, young lady, please wait for a moment. I will go and get the mid-grade heaven crystals for you." "Wait, do you sell low-grade heaven crystals?" Yi Chenfeng called out to her and asked. "Young master, please forgive us. Heaven crystals are extremely rare in the central world. Therefore, we only exchange low-grade heaven crystals. Each mid-grade Dao tool can be exchanged for 5 low-grade heaven crystals, and each low-grade Dao tool can be exchanged for 1 low-grade heaven crystal." The Chongsam woman introduced enthusiastically. "Okay, then I will exchange for 20 low-grade heaven crystals." Yi Chenfeng took out 3 mid-grade Dao tools and 5 low-grade Dao tools and handed them to the Chongsam woman. After a while, the Chongsam woman took out 10 mid-grade and 20 low-grade heaven crystals and completed the exchange with Yi Chenfeng. After Yi Chenfeng obtained the heavenly crystal, he was enthusiastically introduced by the woman in the Chongsam to him, and he bought several worldly spiritual herbs of extraordinary quality, as well as several dozen supreme-grade formation flags. He also gave Jiao Yin a protective talisman that was at the level of a mid-grade Taoist treasure. However, the 3 main ingredients for refining the Heavenly Saint Breaking Pill were too rare, and the Junbao building did not have them. In the end, the Chongsam woman personally sent off Yi Chenfeng and Jiao Yin, whose face was full of smiles, left. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of our next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1119. Feng Chun, it's getting dark. Let's go back. After strolling around the Fire God City, Jiao Yin, who was in a good mood, looked at Yi Chenfeng's chiseled face and asked softly, "No, let's go to the outskirts." Yi Chenfeng's eyes flashed with a cold glint as he said softly, "All right, let's go to the outskirts then." Jiao Yin enjoyed the time she spent with Yi Chenfeng. Without thinking too much, she followed him to the outskirts. The Fire God City was really too big. When the two of them reached the outskirts, the sky was already dark. The sky was filled with stars. It was very beautiful. "Feng Chun, let's go there and look at the stars. When I was young, I loved to look at the stars." Jiao Yin pointed at a beautiful little hill in the outskirts of the Fire God City and suggested excitedly, "Yin, wait for me here. I'll be back soon." After saying that, Yi Chenfeng's body flashed, and he disappeared into a dense forest not far away from him. Very soon, he walked out of the forest with 3 delicate and beautiful flowers in his hand. He arrived at the side of the fairy-like Jiao Yin, who appeared even more otherworldly under the illumination of the moonlight. He gave the flowers to her, and then walked with her towards the small, uninhabited mountain in the distance. Wang, the two of them had just walked to the small hill and found a smooth rock. They were lying on the rock, admiring the dreamy starry sky and enjoying the peaceful time. All of a sudden, beams of restrictive light lit up. In the next moment, a powerful restrictive light isolated the space around Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yuyin, trapping them inside. You guys are really in a good mood, coming here to look at the stars so late at night. A man wearing a black robe with cloud patterns appeared in the isolation barrier. He was waving a fan of beautiful women and had a malicious smile on his face. He brought two powerful guards who were level 6 beast emperors with him. This black-robed man was the one who was captivated by Jiao Yuyan's beauty in the Zhenbao building. "Who are you guys? What do you want to do?" Yi Chunfeng pretended to be surprised and said, shielding the nervous Jiao Yuyan behind him. "You don't deserve to know who we are. You only need to know that I have my eyes on your woman, so you must die." The black-clothed woman looked at Jiao Yuyan's incomparably beautiful face and tall figure with a fiery gaze. She spoke in a hedonistic manner. "My mother is the Nine Heavens Divine Country's Wangtian Marquis. If you dare to harm us, my mother will never let you off." Sensing the strength of the black-clothed man's two followers, Jiao Yuyan immediately revealed her identity and background. Well, I didn't expect you to have such a big background." The man in black curled up the corner of his mouth and said playfully, "I wanted to play with you enough and let you live. I wanted you to stay by my side and be my woman. But now it seems that I can't. You have to die too." At this moment, Yi Chunfeng, who seemed to be frightened, suddenly changed into a different person. He revealed a faint smile and calmly spoke. And, sensing a trace of sharpness in Yi Chunfeng's eyes, the man in black smelled a hint of danger. He took a step back and ordered, "What are you all doing? Kill that man for me." "It's the young master." Two burly guards in martial attire with the strength of a level 6 combat beast emperor obeyed the order. They took a step forward and a powerful force burst out from their bodies. In order to end the battle quickly, they transformed into their beast soul form and increased their strength to the limit. "Die!" The two guards roared and launched a deadly attack at Yi Chunfeng with a terrifying force. They wanted to kill Yi Chunfeng together. Buzz! Suddenly, an ear-piercing sound of a sword rang out. The ear-piercing sound made people's eardrums hurt. In the next moment, the ice dragon sword appeared in Yi Chunfeng's hand. His sword pierced through the air, and the bronze sword soul flew out and slashed at one of the guards. Under the sword, all the creatures in the world trembled. One sword shocked the heavens, and the other shocked the immortals. Chi! One of the guards couldn't dodge in time and was hit by Yi Chunfeng's sword. The bronze sword soul tore through his body's defense like a hot knife through butter and sent him flying. When he lost control of his body and crashed into the spatial restriction, his body suddenly split into two halves. A large amount of blood spurted out, and he fell into a pool of blood and died. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng slashed again with his sword. The sword shook the heavens. A mighty Tao intent gushed out from the Emperor's sky sword and turned into a sword mountain with boundless power. It was as if it wanted to cut the space apart and slashed at the other guard, who turned pale with fright. Feeling the destructive power in Yi Chunfeng's sword, the guard burned his blood and chi to stimulate his potential. He used his most powerful killing move to block the attack. Boom, boom, boom. The two powerful attacks collided fiercely and exploded with earth-shattering sounds. The terrifying power was like a surging tide that swept across the surroundings and caused cracks to appear on the spatial restriction. Just as the guard tried his best to block Yi Chunfeng's sword, a bronze light flashed in front of his eyes. In the next moment, he realized that a large amount of blood was gushing out from his eyes. The entire world turned blood red. Bang! His head was penetrated by the bronze sword soul. It was like a beautiful flower that bloomed in midair. Goo! After witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng killing two of his guards at lightning speed, the black-clothed man was scared silly. He gulped and quickly took out a sensor crystal and crushed it to call for help. "I am warning you. My great-grandfather is an expert from Nirvana. He will be here soon. If you dare to hurt me, my great-grandfather will definitely turn you into ashes." The black-clothed man was scared out of his wits by Yi Chunfeng's strength and warned in fear. Sigh, where is your awe-inspiring and domineering attitude? Aren't you very awesome? Why are you begging for mercy now? Yi Chen-feng said mockingly as he looked at the pale-faced, black-clothed man, who was trembling uncontrollably as if he had gone crazy. I was wrong. As long as you let me go, I am willing to agree to any of your conditions. The black-clothed man was really scared and was afraid that Yi Chen-feng would kill him. He lowered his voice and begged for mercy. Not interested. Yi Chen-feng coldly spat out those 3 words. Those 3 words directly sentenced him to death. In the next moment, the purple dawn holy lightning shot out from Yi Chen-feng's body. It carried with it the power to destroy everything. It blew the black-clothed man's body apart. Let's go back. After putting away the remains of the black-clad man and the others, Yi Chen-feng tapped the node of the restriction, shattering the fragmented restriction space. Then, he brought the trembling Jiao Yuyin and prepared to leave. Where do you think you're going? A roar came from the distance. The black-clothed man's great-grandfather immediately rushed over after receiving the call for help. When he felt his great-grandson's aura disappear, a towering rage erupted from his chest. The fire Dao diagram appeared on his body and turned into a large hand that grabbed at Yi Chen-feng and Jiao Yuyin. Suddenly, a sword of light soared into the sky. Its aura could swallow mountains and rivers. It tore through the void and caused everything to tremble. This sword seemed to pierce through heaven and earth. Everything was annihilated. This sword was like a mountain pressing down. It carried with it the power of mountains and rivers. Qi, the large hand formed by the fire Dao diagram, was torn apart by this sword of light. The terrifying sword of light carried with it an invincible sword might and directly split the old man's body in half. A peerless powerhouse, a nirvana powerhouse, was instantly killed by this sword of light. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Collect button below to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1120. Many thanks for Senior's help. Yi Chen-feng looked at the dumbfounded Jiao Yuyin, who had been scared silly by the scene just now. He smiled and shouted into the dark night sky. Watermark advertisement, test watermark advertisement, test let's go, Yuyin. This place is not easy to stay. And good. Jiao Yuyin gulped and immediately flew back to Fire God City with Yi Chen-feng. When they passed by a pitch-black mountain forest, Yi Chen-feng put away the sword spirit puppet, which had fused with a large number of heavenly crystals and had the strength of a 2-star Tao saint, into the universe mirror. Yuyin, what happened just now was quite serious. It might involve a dispute between some big shots. Don't tell your mother about it, lest she worry and cause a series of unnecessary troubles. On the way back to the inn, Yi Chen-feng softly exhorted. Okay, I'll listen to you. The still shaken Jiao Yuyin nodded and obediently said. When Yi Chen-feng and Jiao Yuyin left the outskirts, many of the big shots in Fire God City were alarmed by the sword puppet's shocking strike. They all came to the outskirts to check what happened. When they saw the corpse split in half by the sword puppet, as well as the hill that was split in half, they sucked in a breath of cold air. They all guessed which supreme expert had made a move to cause such destruction. This night was not calm. Clouds rose in all directions, but Yi Chen-feng, who had returned to the inn, was as calm as still water. He endured the pain in his soul and continued to cultivate the undying soul technique, tempering his soul. Very quickly, the stormy night passed. Let's go. I'll bring you to the ninefold flame caves. I hope you can gain something there. Early in the morning, Wang Tian Marquis called Yi Chen-feng and Jiao Yuyin over and brought them to one of the forbidden areas of Fire God City, the ninefold flame caves. On the way to the ninefold flame caves, Yi Chen-feng heard many people discussing what happened in the outskirts last night. However, Yi Chen-feng's expression did not change, not revealing a trace of surprise. Jiao Yuyin was slightly nervous, but it did not arouse Wang Tian Marquis' suspicion. They had finally arrived. In front of them was one of the forbidden grounds of the Fire God City, the 9-layered Inferno. A few days ago, the Sky Hall had opened this place. As long as one paid enough Heaven Pavilion points, one could enter and capture the flames. Yi Chen-feng and his companion followed Wang Tian Marquis through several dozen streets. After walking for around 4 hours, they arrived outside a fiery red palace shrouded in a terrifying seal. Before they even entered the palace, Yi Chen-feng could already feel waves of heat assaulting him as the temperature in the air continued to rise. Although the points required to enter the Ninefold Flame Cave were frighteningly high, many people still took advantage of the opening of the Ninefold Flame Cave to enter in search of great opportunities and capture spiritual and heavenly flames. A lot of aces. As Yi Chen-feng and Zhao Yuyin stood outside the fiery red palace, waiting for Wang Tian Marquis to hand in his points, they saw many powerful experts passing through the restrictions with fiery red tokens in their hands and entering the fiery red palace. Among them, a man with long fiery red hair, a figure as tall and straight as a steel spear, and a trace of arrogance between his eyebrows caught Yi Chen-feng's attention. Although the man was only a 5th-grade combat beast emperor, when Yi Chen-feng saw him, he smelled a strong sense of danger from him. Obviously, this man was a peerless monster who could kill enemies several levels higher. After about half an incense stick's worth of time, Wang Tian Marquis came over with 2 fiery tokens and handed them to the two of them, exhorting, "Feng Qing'er, you must be extremely careful in the Ninefold Flame Cave. Remember not to be reckless. Also, you can fight in the Ninefold Flame Cave. You must be wary of sneak attacks from outsiders. If your life is in danger, immediately crush this heavenly fire token. The teleportation power contained in the token will teleport you out. Also, there is a time limit in the Ninefold Flame Cave. No matter what level an expert is, they can only stay in there for 3 days. After 3 days, they will be teleported out. Rest assured, Marquis, we will be careful." Yi Chen-feng nodded. Holding the heavenly fire token, he and Zhao Yuyin easily passed through the restriction that enveloped the fiery red palace and entered inside. When they stepped on the extremely hot stairs and entered the red palace, a wave of scorching heat hit them in the face. As far as the eye could see, the entire space was burning fiercely, like a vast sea of fire. The scorching heat distorted the air, making it difficult for people to breathe. Yuyin, control your blue wand flame to protect your body. This way, you can resist the flame attacks in the Ninefold Flame Cave. Yi Chen-feng looked at Zhao Yuyin, who was having difficulty breathing and whose face was flushed, and softly exhorted her. "Okay." Zhao Yuyin nodded. Controlling the blue wand flame, she wrapped her delicate body and followed Yi Chen-feng into the Ninefold Flame Cave, which was burning with crimson flames. "Yuyin, according to my understanding, heavenly flames will not appear in the first 3 levels of the Ninefold Flame Cave. Let's go directly to the 4th level." In order to save time, Yi Chen-feng decided to go directly to the 4th level of the Ninefold Flame Cave and capture heavenly flames for Zhao Yuyin. Then, he would enter the deepest part of the Ninefold Flame Cave alone and capture the mysterious sacred flame. Zhao Yuyin nodded and followed closely behind Yi Chen-feng, flying into the depths of the 1st level of the Ninefold Flame Cave. The two of them continued to speed up, entering the depths of the Ninefold Flame Cave, searching for the entrance to the 2nd level of the Ninefold Flame Cave. As they went deeper, the color of the crimson flames constantly changed, from crimson to deep red, and the temperature became even hotter. Even with the blue wand flame protecting her body, Zhao Yuyin still felt a burning sensation on her skin. The entrance to the 2nd level was there. The two quickly went deeper into the Ninefold Flame Cave for the time it took for an incense stick to burn. Yi Chen-feng's powerful soul found the entrance to the 2nd level. He immediately held Zhao Yuyin's soft and smooth hand, passing through the sea of flames and quickly flying over. When they reached the 2nd level of the Ninefold Flame Cave, Yi Chen-feng found that the flames in the Ninefold Flame Cave had turned yellow. The terrifying flames were constantly suppressing the blue wand flame, protecting Zhao Yuyin's body, burning her skin, making her feel as if her skin and flesh were being torn apart. Just as she clenched her teeth and bitterly endured, she suddenly felt a heart-penetrating chill coming from Yi Chenfeng's palm, instantly spreading throughout her body, dispersing the burning sensation on the surface of her body. "Are you feeling better now?" Yi Chenfeng looked at Jiao Yuyan, who let out a long sigh of relief, and asked with a faint smile. "Much better." Jiao Yuyan revealed a sweet smile, tightly holding Yi Chenfeng's big hand, and followed him into the depths of the second level of the Ninefold Flame Cave, looking for the entrance to the third level of the Ninefold Flame Cave. While looking for the entrance, Yi Chenfeng found a lot of fist-sized fire spirits in the second level of the Ninefold Flame Cave. They were as agile as rabbits, and their flying speed was extremely fast. If he could capture these fire spirits and merge them with his subdued flames, it would increase the power and quality of his own flames. However, there weren't many fire spirits in the second level of the Ninefold Flame Cave. Adding on to the fact that there were many people fighting over them, Yi Chenfeng didn't waste any time. Holding Jiao Yuyan's soft and smooth hand, they quickly found the entrance to the third level of the Ninefold Flame Cave. Under the protection of Yi Chenfeng's dual-polar ancient heavenly water, Jiao Yuyan entered the third level of the Ninefold Flame Cave, where the temperature was rising rapidly, without feeling any discomfort. She followed closely behind Yi Chenfeng, flying quickly in the third level of the Ninefold Flame Cave. Finally, after spending several hours, they passed through the green sea of flames that was enough to burn ordinary beast emperors to death, and arrived at the fourth level of the Ninefold Flame Cave, where the danger level was rising rapidly. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1121. The Ninefold Inferno Cavern is indeed magical. The temperature of the flames in this fourfold Inferno Cavern is close to the level of heavenly flames. After entering the fourth layer of flames, Yi Chenfeng discovered that the flames in the fourth layer of flames had turned into a demonic purple color. The temperature of the flames was also close to the level of heavenly flames. If an ordinary person entered this place, they would instantly turn into ashes. Yuyan, use the amulet I bought for you to protect yourself. Don't let the flames invade your body. Otherwise, your internal organs will melt in an instant. Yi Chenfeng knew how terrifying heavenly flames were. If he didn't have a divine item like the Chaos Divine would, he wouldn't have been able to subdue the heavenly flames with his strength. Moreover, Jiao Yuyan's physical body wasn't strong. If the purple flames invaded her body, the consequences would be unimaginable. And Jiao Yuyan nodded and took out a jade-shaped amulet. She bit her finger and dripped a drop of blood essence into the amulet. She activated the amulet's power and wore it around her neck. On the surface of her body, a layer of defensive light formed, blocking the heavenly flames from invading her body. Let's go and find the heavenly flames. I hope there are some on this floor. Seeing that the amulet's power had completely isolated the heavenly flames, Yi Chenfeng felt relieved. He brought Jiao Yuyan into the fourfold Inferno Cavern to search for the heavenly flames. After entering the fourfold Inferno Cavern, Yi Chenfeng discovered that the number of cultivators here had decreased significantly. Moreover, the cultivators he encountered were all extraordinary and had powerful trump cards. In the fourfold Inferno Cavern, Yi Chenfeng encountered many powerful cultivators and also found two types of extremely high-quality spiritual fire. However, in the Inferno Cavern, each person could only subdue one type of fire seed. The spiritual fire was of little use to Yi Chenfeng and Jiao Yuyan. Therefore, Yi Chenfeng didn't try to subdue it and continued to search for the heavenly flames. Whoosh! When Yi Chenfeng and Jiao Yuyan released their soul spirits to search for the heavenly flames, a fiery red light flashed in front of their eyes. Looking at the fire spirit that was flying at an extremely fast speed like a shooting star, Yi Chenfeng pointed his finger and the dual polarity ancient heavenly water shot out. It turned into a water ball and swallowed the fire spirit. After being swallowed by the dual extreme ancient heavenly water, the fire spirit that had just gained intelligence immediately attacked, wanting to break free. However, the dual extreme ancient heavenly water was close to the limit of heavenly water, completely restraining the fire spirit. Withdraw. Under the control of Yi Qinfeng's mind, the ball of water formed by the dual polarity ancient heavenly water quickly shrank. In the end, it froze the fire spirit that it had devoured. Yu Yin, this fire spirit is for you. Although the fire spirit was precious, it was very difficult to increase the quality of the death blaze skyfire. Yi Chenfeng generously gave this fire spirit to Jiao Yuyan. Thank you. Jiao Yuyan looked at Yi Chenfeng with a gentle gaze and smiled. After capturing the fire spirit, Yi Chenfeng and Jiao Yuyan continued to go deeper into the fourfold inferno. They captured the fire spirits nurtured in the fourfold inferno while searching for the precious heavenly flames. Suddenly, Yi Chenfeng's powerful soul sensed waves of berserk energy rolling violently in a deep purple sea of fire not far in front of him. Intense battle. Let's go take a look. Yi Chenfeng raised his eyebrows, and he immediately passed through the surging deep purple sea of flames with Jiao Yuyan. In the center of the chaotic sea of flames, he saw a familiar figure fighting against a ball of flames that was about half a person's height, and it was completely white in color. That ball of bone-white flames was the heavenly flame that Yi Chenfeng had painstakingly searched for Jiao Yuyan. It's actually him. Through the purple flames, Jiao Yuyan saw the powerful figure shrouded in ice-cold blue light. She revealed a grave expression, because she saw that the person fighting with the bone-white heavenly flame was Yong Tianho's son, Xiao Tianyin, the number one genius of Yong Tianho's Yong Tianho. I didn't expect Xiao Tianyin to be a peerless genius. With his strength as a rank 4 combat beast emperor, he was able to completely suppress the attack of the bone-white heavenly flame. Yi Chenfeng revealed a playful smile as he looked at Xiao Tianyin, who had transformed into a beast soul and possessed astonishing battle prowess. He wielded a dragon headlong spear and created a sea of flames. He was like a roaring dragon that countered the attacks of the bone-white heavenly flames. Jiao Yuyan, I didn't expect you to come knocking on my door. When Yi Chenfeng and Jiao Yuyan appeared, Xiao Tianyin, who possessed extraordinary strength, immediately sensed them. However, he didn't reveal any panic on his face. Instead, he revealed a trace of killing intent. In his opinion, with his strength, he could completely control the life and death of Yi Chenfeng and Jiao Yuyan. He was prepared to forcefully subdue the bone-white heavenly flame before dealing with Yi Chenfeng and Jiao Yuyan. However, he didn't know that Yi Chenfeng had the same idea as him. Wait for me here. Just as Xiao Tianyin was immersed in a beautiful illusion and wanted to subdue the heavenly flame before killing Yi Chenfeng and Jiao Yuyan, his vision suddenly blurred. Yi Chenfeng suddenly appeared in front of him. You're courting death. When Xiao Tianyin saw Yi Chenfeng suddenly appear, killing intent flashed in his eyes. He decisively gave up on attacking the bone-white heavenly flame. He flipped the dragon head long spear in his hand and stabbed it at Yi Chenfeng at close range. Looking at the dragon headlong spear that pierced through the sea of flames and turned into a stream of light, Yi Chenfeng didn't dodge. He extended a finger, shattering the flames, and met the attack head-on. The incomparably sharp tip of the spear pierced Yi Chenfeng's finger, causing ripples of energy to surge out. Under the attack of Yi Chenfeng's finger that had fused with the bead of death and erupted with a force of 100 million Jin, the dragon head-long spear's handle instantly bent. Ear-piercing cracking sounds came from the tip of the spear, shocking Xiao Tianyin so much that his eyeballs almost fell out. How is this possible? How can this guy be so powerful? Xiao Tianyin's heart trembled as he looked at the constantly cracking tip of the spear and felt the backlash from the handle. He decisively summoned a mountain-shaped Dao treasure and slammed it towards Yi Chenfeng's head. Sky-splitting hand. When a mountain-shaped Tao treasure came crashing over, Yi Chenfeng's left hand slapped out across the air. Numerous wills of the Great Path erupted at the same time, condensing into a giant hand that could tear apart the sky. With unparalleled destructive power, it sent the mountain-shaped Tao treasure flying with a single palm strike, suppressing the shocked Xiao Tianyan. Boom! The sky-splitting hand landed. Xiao Tianyan was viciously slammed into the ground by the shockingly powerful, sky-splitting hand. The sound of bones shattering rang out from his body. The blood that spurted out from his body was instantly vaporized by the deep purple flames. Scorching purple flames wildly surged into his body through the cracks all over his body, burning his flesh and organs. He roared in pain. With his life hanging by a thread, Xiao Tianyan immediately took out the Heaven Fire insignia, wanting to crush it and escape. However, Yi Chenfeng did not give him a chance to escape. The bronze sword soul flew out and directly tore through the violently tumbling sea of flames. It turned into an invincible divine sword and slashed towards his body. "No, you can't kill me." Xiao Tianyan's pupils constricted. He desperately wanted to crush the Heaven Fire insignia, but the bronze sword soul's attack speed was too fast. Before the Heaven Fire insignia could be crushed, it cut through his body's defense and split him in half from head to toe. He died on the spot. When Xiao Tianyan was killed by Yi Chenfeng with the help of the bronze sword soul, the deep purple flames comparable to the Heaven Fire immediately melted his body. A genius of a generation died and turned into ashes. Mobile reading home, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1122. Feng Chun, you killed him. Seeing the scene of Yi Chenfeng killing Xiao Tianyan, Jiao Yuyan was stunned. Watermark advertisement test. Although Yong Tianho had many sons, Xiao Tianyan was known as the #1 genius of Yong Tianho, and he had high hopes for him. Jiao Yuyan didn't dare to imagine how furious Yong Tianho would be when he found out that Xiao Tianyan had died in the ninefold inferno cave. Xiao Tianyan was killed by the heavenly flame. What does that have to do with us? Yi Chenfeng smiled faintly and said softly as he looked at Jiao Yuyan, whose face paled and heart could not calm down. Seeing the crafty look in Yi Chenfeng's eyes, Jiao Yuyan smiled and nodded in agreement. Yes, that's right. The ninefold inferno cave is filled with danger. Xiao Tianyan was not strong enough and was killed by the heavenly flame. We didn't know about this. Whoosh. The heavenly flame was extremely intelligent. After seeing Yi Chenfeng kill Xiao Tianyan, it immediately turned into a fiery shadow and flew towards the end of the purple sea of flames. You want to run? That's not so easy. Yi Chenfeng's pupils shrank. He stepped out with his sword and tore apart the sea of flames, intercepting the bone-white heavenly flame. After being intercepted by Yi Chenfeng, the bone-white heavenly flame immediately compressed its heavenly flame body to the extreme and turned into an extremely thin fire needle, stabbing towards Yi Chenfeng's chest. Facing the fatal attack of the bone-white heavenly flame, Yi Chenfeng immediately controlled the bronze sword soul to meet it. The moment the bone-white fire needle collided with the bronze sword soul, the bronze sword soul released boundless sword might and directly pierced through the bone-white heavenly flame, causing it to explode. In the next moment, the soul power in Yi Chenfeng's mind exploded, forming a powerful dizziness. Like a meteor shower, it ruthlessly attacked the spirit of the bone-white heavenly flame, trying to forcefully erase it. Under Yi Chenfeng's soul attack, which was comparable to a 2-star Dao Saint soul attack, the white bone heavenly flame's intelligence grew weaker and weaker. Furthermore, its counterattack could not cause any damage to Yi Chenfeng at all. It was completely blocked by Yi Chenfeng's body, which was comparable to a high-grade Dao artifact. After about an incense stick's worth of time, Yi Chenfeng's continuous use of the stun spell finally wiped out the white bone heavenly fire's intelligence, turning it into a ball of heavenly fire without any consciousness. Yu Yan, let's quickly leave this place and return to the 3rd level. I will help you fuse with the heavenly flames. Yi Feng stretched out his hand, and countless great Tao wills gushed out, imprisoning the bone-white heavenly flames. He then brought Jiao Yuyin away from this extremely hot sea of purple flames and returned to the relatively colder triple-layer fire cavern. They found a relatively remote place. Yuyin, quickly break the blood contract with your blue wand flame. With your strength and constitution, you still can't merge the two great flames into one. Jiao Yuyan's strength was limited, so she couldn't subdue two great flames at the same time. If she wanted to subdue the bone-white heavenly flame, she would have to give up the blue wand flame that she had subdued earlier. All right, although the blue wand flame was precious, it was far from being comparable to the bone-white heavenly flames. She didn't hesitate to break the blood contract with the blue wand flame that she regarded as her life. I seal. The blue wand flame became an ownerless object, and Yi Feng immediately controlled the dual extreme ancient heavenly water to seal it in ice, storing it in the universe mirror. Yu Yin, drip your essence blood into this bone-white heavenly flame, and try to make it recognize you as its master. Yi Feng took out the bone-white heavenly flame, placed it in front of Jiao Yuyin, and said in a soft voice, "All right." Jiao Yuyin took a deep breath, bit her finger, and squeezed out a drop of essence blood, dripping it into the bone-white heavenly flame that had just recovered its original form. All of a sudden, the bone-white heavenly flame released a boundless power, and the fist-sized bone-white heavenly flame burned fiercely, releasing a terrifying heat that burned the space. Jiao Yuyan's face turned red, and her skin started to hurt. If it weren't for the protective talisman protecting Jiao Yuyan's body, the sudden heat from the bone-white heavenly flame would have been enough to melt her skin. Yuyin, don't stop. Continue dripping your essence blood until this bone-white heavenly flame recognizes you. Feeling that the essence blood dripped by Jiao Yuyin was instantly refined by the bone-white heavenly flame, Yi Feng continued. 1 drop, 5 drops, 10 drops. Jiao Yuyin didn't hesitate to drip 32 drops of essence blood into the bone-white heavenly flame, and the bone-white heavenly flame's resistance began to decrease. Slowly, Jiao Yuyan's essence blood began to fuse with the bone-white heavenly flame, and she finally recognized it as its master. Success! I finally recognized this heavenly flame as its master. After consuming nearly 40 drops of essence blood, Jiao Yuyan's face turned pale, but after the bone-white heavenly flame recognized her as its master, she still revealed a very happy expression, and information about the bone-white heavenly flame appeared in her mind. Cold solitude heavenly flame. A heavenly flame born from extreme coldness. The flame contains a trace of coldness. After learning about the mysteries of the cold solitude heavenly flame, Jiao Yuyin was overjoyed. Although the cold solitude heavenly flame wasn't the highest quality heavenly flame, to an alchemist, the temptation of the cold solitude heavenly flame was even more fatal than a top-grade heavenly flame. The trace of coldness in the cold solitude heavenly flame would definitely increase the speed and success rate of pill condensation. If she could refine the cold solitude heavenly flame in her body, she would definitely be able to refine a top-grade Tao pill by borrowing the power of the cold solitude heavenly flame, and the success rate wouldn't be low. Dripping your blood to recognize it as your master is only the first step. Whether you can fuse with it or not is the most crucial step. The process of fusing with the heavenly flame might be a little painful. You must endure it, or you will fail at the last step. Yi Feng looked at the pale Jiao Yuyin and warned her softly. Don't worry about me. I can endure it. Jiao Yuyin bit her lips tightly and said with a firm tone, "Come, drink this." Yi Feng took out a small bottle of 10,000 years spiritual milk and let her drink it, slightly recovering her lost blood and qi. A thick layer of energy formed in her meridians so that she wouldn't be injured by the scorching energy when she was fusing with the heavenly flame. Just as Jiao Yuyin was preparing to fuse with the cold solitude heavenly flame, a white-haired old man with a youthful complexion, but a trace of viciousness between his eyebrows, a beautiful young woman wearing a Taoist robe with phoenix patterns and a large collar, revealing her snow-white skin and seductive cleavage, and a 9-foot-tall man with thick black hair all sensed the aura of the cold solitude heavenly flame and quickly approached. Heavenly flame, it really is the heavenly flame. Looking at the cold solitude heavenly flame floating in front of Jiao Yuyan, the white-haired old man and the other two revealed a trace of excitement. If they could subdue the heavenly flame, they believed that they would definitely be able to shine in the upcoming Sky Palace competition and obtain glory that they didn't dare to imagine before. Yi Chunfeng glanced at the white-haired old man and the other two with the corner of his eyes and said softly, "All right, let's begin. I will protect you. You only need to do your best to fuse with the cold solitude heavenly flame." "All right." Jiao Yuyan knew Yi Chunfeng's strength very well, so she nodded lightly. She opened her rosy little mouth and swallowed the cold solitude heavenly flame into her stomach, trying to fuse it into her body. "How dare you!" Seeing Jiao Yuyan swallow the cold solitude heavenly flame into her body, the white-haired old man and the other two were instantly enraged. 3 powerful auras burst out from their bodies, causing the sea of fire to surge violently and oppress Yi Chunfeng and Jiao Yuyan. Seeing that the cold solitude heavenly flame was being attacked by the 3 powerful auras, Yi Chunfeng decisively stood in front of her and used his body to block the 3 terrifying auras for her. "Interesting, I didn't expect that with your strength of a level 4 Beast Emperor, you would be able to block the auras of the 3 of us. You are really not simple." The burly man who looked like an iron tower cracked open his mouth and revealed a cruel smile as he said, "I don't want to kill anyone. Get lost before I get angry." Yi Chunfeng's eyes emitted an aura that said, "Who else but me can do it?" As if he was an invincible sword god, as he warned in an overbearing manner. I will post Jiao Yuyan's picture this weekend, and I will post Heaven Plucking next week. Those who want to see it, please add my WeChat account. YLTY83 mobile reading site. Book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1123. One interesting little fellow. Even this elder sister is not willing to kill you. The beautiful young woman looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was standing proudly with his back straight, and let out a series of crisp laughter. Her ample bosom rose and fell one after another, looking extremely charming. Although Yi Chunfeng's aura was astonishing, the white-haired old man and the other two did not put him in their eyes at all after sensing his strength as a level 4 Beast Emperor. They even treated his warning as a passing wind. "I'll count to 3. If you don't scram, then leave your lives behind." With a thought, Yi Chunfeng summoned dozens of top-grade formation flags, forming the 100-killing array and enveloping Jiao Yuyan, who was enduring the pain and slowly merging with the desolate heavenly flame, as he warned them with cold, killing intent. Courting death, the hot-tempered, burly man roared as his entire body erupted with astonishing strength. Like a furious beast, he waved a mid-grade Dao staff that was as thick as a baby's arm and had a large number of engravings on it, and whipped it towards Yi Chunfeng with a force that could split Mount Hua. The burly man was a level 5 Beast Emperor, and he was born with godly strength. Even an ordinary level 6 Beast Emperor would not dare to receive his attack head-on. However, Yi Chunfeng's physical body was far superior to his, and his strength was far beyond his reach. Facing the mid-grade Dao staff that was whipping towards him, Yi Chunfeng stood within the sea of flames and stretched out his right hand to grab it. Courting death, seeing Yi Chunfeng's action, the burly man felt extremely humiliated. During the process of his attack, he continuously increased the power of his staff, wanting to whip Yi Chunfeng into meat paste. Bang! The burly man's staff ruthlessly whipped Yi Chunfeng's palm. Following that, a powerful rebounding force was transmitted from Yi Chunfeng's palm, making him feel as if he was whipping dark steel. He almost lost his grip on the trembling mid-grade Dao staff. Since you don't cherish your lives, then let me send you to the Western Paradise." As he spoke, the holy lightning of purple beginnings shot out from Yi Qinfeng's mouth, and it transformed into a violent lightning bolt that fiercely blasted towards the robust man whose expression had changed greatly. Although he defended with all his might, he was still unable to withstand the attack of the purple dawn sacred lightning. He was violently sent flying, falling heavily into the sea of fire. His entire chest was char-black, and he was heavily injured. If it wasn't for the fact that the burly man's defense was stronger than an ordinary person's, this attack would have been enough to shatter his body. What level of thunder is this? Witnessing the scene of the holy thunder of purple beginnings sending the burly man flying, the white-haired old man and his companion's pupils constricted, and the way they looked at Yi Chunfeng changed greatly. Set up a formation and use a formation against him. Realizing that Yi Chunfeng was not easy to deal with, the white-haired old man took out a powerful array diagram that floated above his head. He wanted to borrow the might of the array diagram to kill Yi Chunfeng. It seems that the three of you are just rogue cultivators. This trump card is too shabby. Yi Chunfeng glanced at the array diagram that the white-haired old man had taken out. His expression did not change at all as he spoke coldly. "Brat, don't be so arrogant. Today, we will destroy you." The white-haired old man and his companions were extremely coordinated. They quickly entered the formation, borrowing the array diagram above their heads to fuse their powers and increase their strength. Heavenly Exalt Bloodline Burn. Yi Chunfeng did not want to waste any time. He quickly burned his Heavenly Exalt Bloodline and used the power of the heavens in the air to fuse into his body, increasing his strength. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng used the sword steps, tearing through the sea of fire with a single step. He appeared before the white-haired old man and his companions with a single step. He circulated the clear sky art and formed a shockingly powerful blue sky seal. He struck out with the seal, and inscriptions of the great Tao appeared on his body. They quickly condensed into a blue sky seal that seemed to contain the world. Like a huge dragon, it shot toward the three people who had fused into the array diagram. Sensing the destructive power of the blue sky seal, the expressions of the white-haired old man and his companions changed slightly. They circulated the array diagram at the same time, releasing countless inscriptions that shot forward. Rumble, rumble, the two formidable Tao skills collided, and a terrifying power erupted within the sea of flames. A world-shaking explosion rang out, spreading across a radius of tens of li. The faces of the cultivators within the triple flaming cave sank sharply, and they turned to look at the battle. Heavenly Tao disc after that attack, the Tao diagram of life and death, and the Tao diagram of 5 elements appeared behind Yi Chunfeng. When the two Tao diagrams merged together, they turned into a heavenly Tao disc that looked like a black hole. It continued to attack the white-haired old man, whose expression had changed greatly. Wherever the heavenly Tao disc passed, the world shook and space changed. It was a terrifying sight. When one faced this seal, they felt insignificant and helpless. Array diagram defense. The white-haired old man and his companions never thought that Yi Chunfeng would have cultivated 2 great Tao diagrams. Their hearts trembled. Without hesitation, they controlled the Tao diagrams above their heads to defend against the heavenly Tao disc's destructive strike. Kacha! Under the attack of the heavenly Tao disc's 2 great Tao diagrams, the array diagram fused with the white-haired old man and his companion's Tao intense cracked. Cracks spread out at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the end, the array diagram fused with the power of the 3 people shattered. The white-haired old man and his companions spat out a mouthful of blood and were sent flying. Go! After witnessing how terrifying Yi Chunfeng was, the white-haired old man was scared out of his wits. He didn't dare to stay any longer and wanted to quickly escape. However, the moment they tried to escape with all their might, a dizzying force smashed into their soul sea like a heavy hammer, causing their soul to tremble and produce a strong sense of dizziness. In the next moment, the Emperor Heaven Sword appeared in Yi Chunfeng's hand. He fused with the power of the bronze sword's soul and slashed out. The sword tore apart the sea of fire and swept through everything. It slashed towards the white-haired old man and his companions, who had stopped reacting. The sword shook the sky, and the golden flames in the 3 levels of fire paled in comparison. The terrifying sword power shocked many people who took the risk to get close. It also made the white-haired old man and his companions, who had regained their senses, fall into despair and fear. Chi! The sword light slashed open the bodies of the 3 people like a hot knife through butter. Even their souls were annihilated by this sword. Anyone who dared to approach this place without permission would die. After killing the 3 people with a single sword, Yi Chunfeng took away their belongings and the 3 balls of spirit fire that were floating in the sea of fire. He looked sharply at the surrounding cultivators who were hiding in the sea of fire and warned them with a murderous aura. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's warning, the cultivators who were hiding in the surroundings were scared out of their wits. Soon, the area where Yi Chunfeng was became a forbidden zone, and no one dared to approach. After intimidating the cultivators in the 3 levels of fire, Yi Chunfeng withdrew the 100-kilo ray that was enveloping Jiao Yuyan. He sat cross-legged beside her and continued to protect her. Although the difficulty of fusing with the solitary heavenly fire was not small, Jiao Yuyan relied on the protection of the 10,000-year spirit milk to endure the most difficult and painful moment. She started to fuse with the solitary heavenly fire. At this moment, an entire day had passed. After calculating the time, Yi Chunfeng had no choice but to wake up Jiao Yuyan, who was fusing with the solitary heavenly fire. Yuyan, time is limited. I need to enter the depths of the 9 levels of fire to capture the heavenly fire. During the safe period, you should go outside and fuse with the solitary heavenly fire. Now that you are fusing with the solitary heavenly fire, going outside will not affect your fusion. Yi Chunfeng said softly when he felt that Jiao Yuyan was fusing with the solitary heavenly fire. Feng Chun, be careful. I will wait for you outside. You must come out safely. Jiao Yuyan nodded and stopped fusing with the solitary heavenly fire. She said softly and crushed the heavenly fire writ, teleporting away from the 3 levels of fire. After Jiao Yuyan teleported away, Yi Chunfeng didn't waste any more time. Stepping on the cloud-rushing boots, he raised his speed to the peak and rushed through the sea of flames. Very soon, he passed through the 3rd layer fire cave, the 4th layer fire cave, and entered the 5th layer fire cave, where the power of the flames increased by several folds. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Say button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.